Chapter 1167. Feng Chun, Yin your performance today was too perfect. I'm proud of you. Yi Chunfeng and Jiao Yuyin were like an immortal couple. When they walked out of the majestic flame divine temple, Wan Tian Marquis and the others immediately went to greet them. When Wan Tian Marquis, Mu Qinghua, and the others saw the 8-star insignia on Yi Chunfeng and Jiao Yuyin's chests, they became even more excited. Although Mu Qinghua had been schemed against by the Flame Spirit Holy Sun and lost the qualifications to participate in the preliminaries, with Yi Chunfeng and Jiao Yuyin's results, the Wantian Pavilion had the qualifications to become a 7-star celestial pavilion. When the Wantian Pavilion became a 7-star celestial pavilion, it would bring unimaginable benefits to Wantian capital. Adding on their influence, they would be able to attract a large number of alchemists to join them, strengthening Wantian capital's foundation. Compared to Feng Chun, I'm still lacking. I don't have the courage to refine 10 Dao pills at the same time, said Jiao Yuyin as she looked gently at Yi Chunfeng. That was true. When they had seen Feng Chun refine 10 Dao pills at the same time, the entire Wantian pavilion had gone into an uproar. In the instant he succeeded, everyone was stunned. Mu Qinghua praised. Let's go back to the inn and celebrate. Then you can prepare for tomorrow's semifinals. After saying that, Yi Chunfeng's group left the Fire Divine Palace and returned to the inn under the shocked gazes of many people. Night fell and countless stars hung in the sky. The starlight merged with the bright moonlight. It was incomparably resplendent. From a distance, it looked like the Milky Way. After eating dinner, Yi Chunfeng returned to his room and placed down a soundproof restriction. He began to recover and adjust his condition. Not long after he entered his meditative state, a series of soft knocks came from outside the soundproof restriction, disturbing Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng frowned slightly. After hesitating for a moment, he dispersed the soundproof restriction and opened the door. He saw a tall woman wearing a white gauze dress. Her facial features were extremely delicate, and she emitted a faint fragrance. She was standing outside the door with a plate of pastries. "Can I help you?" Yi Chunfeng asked in a low voice as he looked at the woman who had a perfect figure and delicate skin. She had the ability to stimulate men's kidney glands and increase her charm in a short period of time. "The Marquis ordered me to bring some pastries to young Master Feng." The woman in white looked at Yi Chunfeng with soft eyes and said in a charming voice, "Let me in." Yi Chunfeng looked her up and down and said indifferently, "Young master, eat the pastries while they're hot. Don't eat them when they're cold." The woman in white bent her body slightly, revealing a beautiful curve. She elegantly placed the 3 plates of pastries on the table and said softly, "Did the Marquis really send you here?" Yi Chunfeng asked softly, his pupils constricting as he looked at the charming white-clothed girl. "If you don't believe me, you can go and ask the Marquis," the white-robed woman said softly with a charming smile. "Don't act. The Marquis will not send a woman with a perfume to bring me pastries." Yi Chunfeng said slowly. A powerful aura emanated from his body and locked onto the woman in white with an indifferent expression. "Young master, are you kidding? How can I have a perfume? If you don't believe me, you can check my body." With that, the woman in white with a blush on her delicate face suddenly reached behind her back and untied the sash of her dress. Suddenly, the white gauze dress slid down her smooth skin and fell to her feet. A flawless body was exposed in front of Yi Chunfeng. Suddenly, a peerless killing intent appeared in the woman's blurred eyes. 3 extremely thin black needles containing highly toxic poison flew out from her fingertips and shot towards the 3 major acupoints on Yi Chunfeng's body, trying to penetrate Yi Chunfeng's body. In the face of the 3 poisonous needles, Yi Chunfeng did not dodge. Instead, he met them head-on. He used his body, which was comparable to a high-grade Taoist weapon, to resist the attack of the 3 poisonous needles. The woman did not expect Yi Chunfeng's body to be so strong that the 3 poisonous needles, which were comparable to middle-grade Taoist treasures, could not penetrate his body. Without hesitation, she crushed a crystal hidden in her palm. A large amount of fog spread out and engulfed her attractive body. "What? Do you want to escape after the assassination failed? With a thought, Yi Qinfeng's powerful soul formed a powerful dizzying force. It smashed in her sea of soul like a heavy hammer, causing her reaction to be delayed for a short time. Just as Yi Qinfeng passed through the fog at an extremely fast speed, wanting to capture the assassin and interrogate the person behind the scenes, two extremely fast sword lights flew in from outside the window and attacked Yi Qinfeng. In the face of these two swords, Yi Qinfeng's movement speed suddenly soared, and he instantly dodged the two swords. His huge hand, which was filled with thousands of kilograms of weight, fiercely grabbed the woman's smooth and delicate shoulder. The power of the dual-polar ancient heavenly water pierced through her defense and broke into her body, directly freezing her. However, in the instant that the woman was sealed in ice, she suddenly self-destructed her body, creating a powerful explosive force that blasted towards Yi Qinfeng at close range, delivering the most fatal blow to him. Boom! Although the inn was protected by restrictions, the power of the assassin's self-detonation was so great that it shook the entire inn violently. A large area collapsed, affecting many people. The woman of the Zhou clan was also injured because of this. Fengchen, what happened? Wang Tian Marquis and the others ran out from the collapsed room. Seeing Yi Qinfeng, whose clothes were severely damaged but not injured, they asked, "Someone tried to assassinate me." Yi Qinfeng's soul power erupted in his mind, locking onto the assassin who was hiding outside the inn and running away with all her strength. He said, "Marquis, you guys protect yourselves. I will chase after that assassin." As he spoke, Yi Qinfeng ignited his golden rock bloodline, increasing his flying speed by 4 times. He made his way out of the violently shaking inn and chased after the assassin who was running away with all her strength in the dark night. Although the assassin's flying speed was extremely fast, Yi Qinfeng quickly closed the distance between them under the amplification of his golden rock bloodline. He chased after her to the edge of the Fire God City. Seeing that the assassin was blocked by the Fire God City's restrictions, she suddenly took out a treasure and smashed it on the Fire God City's restrictions from afar. In the next moment, ripples appeared on the city wall's restrictions. The powerful restriction was pierced through by this treasure, and the assassin passed through this hole and escaped from the Fire God City. After trying to assassinate me, you still want to run? The soul force in Yi Qinfeng's brain exploded, and he poured it into the rapidly healing restrictions on the city walls, forcefully delaying the recovery time of the restrictions. At the last moment, he flew out and continued to chase after the black-clothed assassin who had failed to assassinate him. Just as Yi Qinfeng chased after the black-clothed assassin and arrived at a lush mountain forest outside the Fire God City, Yi Qinfeng's sharp senses suddenly felt 4 boundless killing intents locking onto him. In the next moment, 4 incomparably sharp spear lights that seemed to be able to pierce through everything cut through the dark night sky, stabbing towards Yi Qinfeng from 4 different directions, determined to kill him. On the eve of the semi-finals, Yi Qinfeng encountered the assassination of 4 peerless experts. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the save button below to record this reading record. You'll be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1168. Sword Step. Yi Qinfeng didn't panic when he was suddenly attacked by 4 peerless spear lights. Instead, he suddenly increased the speed of his sword steps. His entire body drew out an afterimage as he flew out, while the sword Dao patterns defended against the 4 spear lights. Zhong Delta One Network. 4 female assassins who are level 6 combat beast emperors. What a big move. Although the 4 assassins were masked, judging from their enchanting figures, they were all women. Their strength had almost reached the peak of combat beast emperor. This somewhat surprised Yi Qinfeng. The 4 female assassins didn't waste time talking nonsense with Yi Qinfeng. After their first attack failed, they continued to hold their black spears. Like a long snake spitting out its tongue, they interweaved with boundless spear shadows and attacked Yi Qinfeng. Extreme Tao of life and death. For spear lights, filled with killing intent, surged through the void. A Tao pattern of life and death rose behind Yi Qinfeng. He struck out with his palms. Boundless Tao patterns of life and death fused in Yi Qinfeng's palms. With the power of extreme Tao, it crushed all living things. It was like the ultimate destruction of heaven and earth. It shattered the fatal attack of the 4 black spear lights. Their attacks were broken one after another. The 4 black-clothed assassins gathered together decisively, forming a deadly matrix. Rolling will of the way gathered together, and a black spear that was dozens of feet long pierced downwards. It carried with it the terrifying might of the matrix as it pierced towards Yi Qinfeng, intending to kill him. Heavenly Sovereign Bloodline Ignition, Blue Sky Seal. Facing the attack of the 4 assassins, Yi Qinfeng decisively ignited his Heavenly Sovereign Bloodline. He mobilized the power of the heavens and the space and merged it into his body, increasing his strength. He struck out the Blue Sky Seal to meet the attack. When the seal was struck out, heaven and earth shook. The space changed drastically. The power was terrifying. It made people feel small and helpless when facing this seal. Ka. The Blue Sky Seal and the Black Spear collided. The explosive force shook the entire space. Large areas of the forest were turned into ashes. The dark night sky was illuminated by the intense collision. Just as the Black Spear lights were being shattered by the Blue Sky Seal, Yi Qinfeng stepped on his sword and flew up into the sky. He appeared beside the 4 assassins. 36 Qianquan swords flew out of his body and instantly formed a sword array. It was like a violent sword river. It was vast and boundless as it attacked the 4 assassins who formed the killing array. Under the attack of the Qianquan sword array, the killing array was instantly suppressed. Although the 4 assassins' bloodline power, of course, they were still pierced by the sharp Qianquan swords. Their injuries were worsened by the Qianquan swords. Divine ability, Tyrant Kick. Seeing that the 4 assassins couldn't resist the Qianquan sword array, Yi Qinfeng suddenly flew above their heads. He stomped his foot. The terrifying Tyrant Kick carried a force of close to 100 million Jin. He stomped on the killing array and shattered it. The assassins fell from the sky to the ground and smashed out 4 huge craters. Go! After experiencing Yi Qinfeng's frightening strength, the 4 assassins decisively tried to break out of the encirclement and escape. However, the moment they broke out of the encirclement, the soul force in Yi Qinfeng's soul sea exploded once again, forming 4 powerful, dizzying forces that bombarded the 4 assassins' soul sea. Just as the 4 assassins were hit by the dizziness attack and their reaction was slightly delayed, Yi Qinfeng was about to capture them alive. Yi Qinfeng's sharp perception suddenly felt an extremely terrifying killing intent locking onto him. This killing intent was so strong that Yi Qinfeng felt like he was being stared at by a poisonous snake. All the hair on his body stood on end, and he didn't dare to act rashly. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. When Yi Qinfeng was locked onto by the terrifying killing intent and didn't dare to act rashly, the 4 assassins who had regained their consciousness quickly melted into the night and disappeared. If you want to kill me, then don't hide anymore. Yi Qinfeng's sharp eyes looked at the pitch-black forest. He took out the ice dragon sword and held it in his hand as he spoke in a low voice. Buzz! Just as Yi Qinfeng finished speaking, the boundless killing intent from the depths of the forest suddenly condensed and turned into a killing sword that could cut through mountains and rivers. It carried a terrifying Tao intent and left a deep sword scar in the air as it slashed towards Yi Qinfeng. Nirvana's almighty. The space of the central world was extremely sturdy. To be able to tear space apart with a casual attack, the attack power was at least at Nirvana's level. Yi Qinfeng didn't dare to take it head-on and quickly dodged. The moment Yi Qinfeng dodged, 4 more killing swords that evolved the might of the great Tao appeared in the pitch-black forest. As if they could pierce through heaven and earth, they slashed towards Yi Qinfeng, making him smell the thick threat of death. Just as Yi Qinfeng knew that he was no match for them and wanted to summon the sword puppet to fight, A sword ray that pierced through heaven and earth descended from the sky and shattered the 4 killing swords. In the next moment, the Absolute Sword, who was wearing a white robe and exuding boundless sword intent, appeared in front of Yi Chenfeng. Senior Absolute Sword. Yi Chenfeng didn't expect the Absolute Sword to appear at this time. He gave up the idea of summoning the sword puppet and revealed a look of gratitude. "Don't worry. With us here, no one can move," the Absolute Sword said coldly. His voice was filled with incomparable confidence. After a while, the Tao Addict, Violent Dragon, and the Black Lightning King appeared. However, there was a trace of regret on their faces. "Sai, we let him escape." The Tao Addict sighed softly. "Escape? With the Black Lightning King here, how could that person escape?" The Absolute Sword knew the speed of the Black Lightning King. Even he couldn't catch up. "That person is not simple. The 3 of us only caught a glimpse of his back. His speed is even more shocking. Before we could chase after him, he disappeared into the night. Even our souls couldn't lock onto him," the Black Lightning King said softly. "Since you saw that person's back, do you think that person is Yao Yin?" the Absolute Sword asked with a sharp light in his eyes. "It can't be Yao Yin." The Tao Addict shook her head and said, "Although Yao Yan's strength is terrifying, he doesn't have the strength to escape from the 3 of us. However, that person's strength should have reached the Nirvana heavenly realm." Seniors, I wonder if you know of any assassin organization in the Central World whose assassins are all female. Yi Chenfeng asked at this moment. "Phantom," the Tao Addict said, "that person actually hired phantom assassins to assassinate you." Senior, how is the strength of this phantom organization? Yi Chenfeng continued to ask when he saw the grave expression on the Tao Addict's face. There are 2 extremely terrifying assassin organizations in the Central World. Even the Divine Nations have a headache. One is Extreme Kill, and the other is Phantom. The Phantom Assassin organization is all female. Moreover, every assassin is extremely terrifying. Targets targeted by them will find it difficult to escape. Violent Dragon, whose voice was like a thunder drum, continued, "Both Extreme Kill and Phantom are very mysterious. No one knows where their headquarters are hidden, and no one knows how deep their foundation is. Let's go back to the city. During this period of time, you can stay with the 4 of us. With us around, I don't think Phantom will dare to come again," the Tao Addict said. "Okay." Yi Chenfeng didn't refuse. He followed the Tao Addict and the other 3 back to the Fire God City and stayed in the Tao Addict's ancient courtyard in the Fire God City. Soon, the sun rose. The semi-finals of the 3rd day were about to begin. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You can see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1169. Fengchun, you were assassinated last night, so you didn't have a good rest. You have to be very careful in today's competition. Don't challenge too high of a difficulty level to avoid accidents. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement test. Looking at Yi Chenfeng, who walked out of the room slowly with a calm expression, Wangtian Pavilion was slightly worried that the assassination last night would affect his competition today. "Don't worry, Master Ho. I have rested well." Yi Chenfeng had a primordial treasure like the spiritual pearl of life, so he could recover in a short time. Let's go to the Fire God Temple. On the way to the Fire God Temple, the Tao Addict and the other 3 people did not go with Yi Chenfeng. They hid in the dark, trying to find out the person behind the assassination of Yi Chenfeng. Outside the magnificent gate of the Fire God Temple, Yi Chenfeng and the others happened to meet the people of the sacred Fire Valley. However, the Saint Son of Fire Spirit did not provoke Yi Chenfeng and the others anymore. He looked at Yi Chenfeng coldly and walked into the Fire God Temple with 3 level 9 alchemists of the sacred Fire Valley. Fengchun, although we did not find a real assassin, I feel that the real assassin is very likely to be related to the sacred Fire Valley. They want to disturb your heart and consume your energy. So in today's semi-finals, don't be instigated by the Saint Son of Fire Spirit, lest you fall into their trap. Jiao Yuyin took the initiative to hold Yi Qinfeng's big hand and said with concern, "Don't worry, Yin. The Saint Son of Fire Spirit will lose." Yi Qinfeng gently held Jiao Yuyin's soft and delicate hand, and his voice revealed great confidence. As for the person behind the assassination last night and the possible continuous assassination, he did not care about it, and it did not affect him at all. Because Yi Qinfeng's performance yesterday was too amazing, many alchemists took the initiative to greet him. Looking at the alchemists around Yi Qinfeng, the Saint Son of Fire Spirit's eyes could not help but reveal a touch of coldness. "Feng Chun, I'm going to let you know that the higher you stand, the harder you fall. I'm going to make you kneel on the ground like a dog and kowtow to me." After studying the alchemy experience that Yao Yin had lent him for the past 2 days, the Saint Son of Fire Spirit had gained a lot and greatly improved his alchemy skills. At this time, he was completely confident that he could refine a 7-vein or even 8-vein ancient Dao pill and defeat Yi Qinfeng fair and square. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Just as all 179 alchemists arrived, the entrance to the heavenly fire world opened. Without any hesitation, everyone flew into the air and entered the extremely hot heavenly fire world. There was a faint red fire aura and mysterious stone platforms floating in the air. When the Fire Spirit Saint Sun chose a good stone platform, Yi Qinfeng chose the one next to him. This made the Fire Spirit Saint Sun frown. He looked at Yi Qinfeng. "Hualing, you will definitely lose." Looking at the Fire Spirit Saint Sun's eyes, Yi Qinfeng revealed a confident smile and said, "Isn't it too early to talk about winning? Moreover, I don't know what you're relying on for your confidence." The Fire Spirit Saint Sun was not angry. Instead, he said tit for tat, "Hualing, if I'm not wrong, the highest goal you've set for yourself is to be in the top 10 of this alchemy competition, right?" Yi Qinfeng said, "Why? Do you think you have the ability to be in the top 10 as well?" The Fire Spirit Saint Sun revealed a sarcastic smile and said with no trace of politeness. Yi Qinfeng shook his head. His delicate face revealed a smug smile as he said arrogantly, "No, you're wrong. I've never thought of such a low goal like being in the top 10. My lowest goal is to be in the 3rd place in this alchemy competition. My real goal is to be in the 1st place." "First place?" The Fire Spirit Saint Sun's pupil shrank. After a short moment of surprise, he revealed a sarcastic expression. Just as he was about to mock Yi Qinfeng for overestimating himself, Yi Qinfeng turned his head and did not look at him. He was so angry that he gritted his teeth. Although the Fire Spirit Saint Sun did not believe Yi Qinfeng's goal from the bottom of his heart, Yi Qinfeng's words were like a thorn that pierced his heart, causing a ripple in his heart. Rumble! The sky fire world closed. Xian Zhongxin, who was wearing a white alchemy robe and had a strong aura, appeared above the sky fire world. He glanced at the 180 alchemists and said in a deep voice, "Being able to enter the semi-finals is enough to prove your alchemy ability. Today, there will only be one semi-final round. However, only 10 of you will be able to enter the semi-finals tomorrow. Therefore, in today's semi-finals, you will need to use your best skills to refine the elixirs. We will rank you according to your refining speed, elixir quality, and elixir level. The top 100 alchemists will be rewarded. All right, insert your soul into the stone platform in front of you. You will see elixir recipes of different levels on the stone platform. After you have chosen your elixir recipe, the required herbs will appear. However, no matter if you succeed or fail, the elixir that you refine will belong to the Sky Palace." After he finished speaking, the 179 alchemists released their powerful souls into the mysterious soul that was floating in front of them. They forced their souls into the stone platform and found elixir recipes of different levels on the stone platform. The Ancient Path Golden Pill was one of the Ancient Path elixirs. The elixir contained the power of the Great Path and could increase the strength of the experts in Nirvana. The elixir recipe required Blood Spirit Heavenly Ganoderma, Purple Cloud Fruit, 7-star grass, Heaven Origin Fruit, Golden Horn Tree, and 48 other precious herbs. Yi Qinfeng quickly browsed through the 3 Ancient Path elixir recipes and finally chose the most difficult one, the Ancient Path Golden Pill. Although the saint son of fire spirit and Jiao Yuyin also chose to refine the ancient path elixir, it was too difficult and the chances of failure were high. To be safe, they chose to refine the second difficulty, the profound Pu ancient path elixir. After everyone had chosen their elixir recipe, the mysterious stone platform immediately shone with a blinding white light. When the white light dissipated, all the herbs needed to refine the elixir appeared on the table. Ancient Path Golden Pill. He actually chose to refine the Ancient Path Golden Pill. After choosing his elixir recipe, the saint son of fire spirit instinctively looked at Yi Chenfeng. When he saw the 48 precious herbs on the stone platform in front of Yi Chenfeng, his pupil shrank and he was surprised. Is his alchemy skills really that high? Since Yi Chenfeng dared to choose the most difficult ancient path elixir, it was enough to show that he was very confident in his own abilities. In addition to Yi Chenfeng's arrogant words, the saint's son of fire spirit was shocked again. No, he's just bluffing. If his alchemy skills are really that high, it is impossible for him to be unknown to the public. Soon, the saint's son of fire spirit denied his own thoughts and tried to get rid of the distracting thoughts in his mind. He released his soul power to sense the medicinal properties of each herb and prepared to refine the ancient path elixir. At this time, a huge cloud of fire suddenly appeared in the heavenly fire world. When the cloud of fire dissipated, a huge funnel appeared in the void. The semifinals will last for 3 days. When the fire and sand in the funnel are all gone, the competition will end. All right, I now announce the start of the semifinals. Following Xian Zhangxin's order, the cruel and long semifinals began. Mobile reading website. Book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1170. Vermilion Bird Cauldron. Although Yi Chenfeng had a powerful alchemy inheritance and a lot of alchemy experience, he didn't dare to be careless when refining the ancient Dao pill. He summoned the Gu Dao treasure Vermilion Bird Cauldron that had an artifact spirit. Watermark advertisement. Test watermark advertisement. Test is the successor of the Sacred Fire Valley. The Fire Spirit Saint also had an extraordinary Gu Dao treasure cauldron. However, his cauldron didn't have an artifact spirit, so it was much worse than the Vermilion Bird Cauldron. The ancient Dao pill was different from the Dao pill. Not only was it extremely difficult to refine, but it also took a long time. The order of putting in the herbs was also very particular. The essence of the herbs had to react at the beginning and nurture the power of the Dao. Only then could the ancient Dao pill be refined. Yi Chenfeng stared at the 48 herbs needed to refine the ancient Dao golden pill. He tried hard to remember, and the attributes of the 48 herbs immediately appeared in his mind. Then, Yi Chenfeng followed the alchemy experience in his mind. He first put the blood spirit Ganoderma, heaven origin fruit, and crane grass into the vermilion bird cauldron that was burning with death flames heavenly fire and surrounded by the vermilion bird shadow. The attributes of the 3 heaven and earth spiritual herbs complemented each other. The pure spiritual liquid that they melted into easily fused together and nurtured a sliver of Dao power. Then, Yi Chenfeng sealed the 3 balls of pure spiritual liquid in a corner of the vermilion bird cauldron. He put in another 4 heaven and earth spiritual herbs that complemented each other and continued to refine them. Refining the ancient Dao pill required an extremely large number of spiritual herbs, and the grade of the spiritual herbs was even higher. The time required to refine the ancient Dao pill far exceeded that of a peak-grade Dao pill. Relying on his rich alchemy experience, Yi Chenfeng spent a total of 8 hours before he finally purified all 48 spiritual herbs. After refining them, Yi Chenfeng didn't fuse all the spiritual liquids together. Instead, he relied on his rich alchemy experience to fuse the spiritual liquids with each other. This was to prevent the herbs from clashing with each other and causing the refinement to fail. Without rich alchemy experience and thousands of experiments, one wouldn't know the order of fusion. Just the fusion of the pills would cause the refinement to fail. As for the herbs needed to refine the ancient path pill, every single one of them was extremely valuable. Without a rich family background, it was impossible to use these herbs to refine pills without restraint. This was also the reason why there were so few ninth-grade alchemists in the entire Central world. Among these ninth-grade alchemists, there were less than 20 who had a 50% chance of concocting an ancient Tao pill. Yi Chunfeng relied on his powerful alchemy inheritance to complete the purification. Jiao Yiyan and the Flame Spirit Saint's son also completed the purification and began to fuse their spirit pills. Although Jiao Yiyan's starting point was relatively low, Yi Chunfeng, in order to thank her for teaching him the Undying Soul technique, had unreservedly imparted his alchemy skills and experience to her. In addition, she was extremely intelligent and had a strong perception. Refining the ancient path pill was done with ease, as if she was a veteran who had studied alchemy for tens of thousands of years. She didn't show the slightest bit of strain. The Flame Spirit Saint's son, who had studied the alchemy manual for 2 days, was also very calm. Every bit of control was done calmly. He had the demeanor of a great master. As expected, heroes come from the young. Feng Chun, Jiao Yuyin, and the Flame Spirit Holy Son were all rare geniuses, especially Feng Chun. In such a short time, he had understood the attributes of the ancient path golden pill's 48 medicinal herbs and refined them in an orderly manner. This kind of insight and experience made me wonder if he was an old monster in disguise. Vice Hall Master Xian Qingyun, who had been watching the competition through the light barrier in the Fire God realm, couldn't help but praise Yi Chunfeng when he saw how skilled and calm Yi Chunfeng was. That's right, the ancient path golden pill wasn't simple. It was extremely difficult to refine. Even an ordinary saint alchemist would only have a success rate of 70 to 80%. But that little guy challenged this pill in the semifinals. It was enough to show that he was very confident in his alchemy skills. Palace Master Xian Hongzheng nodded lightly. His gaze was fixed on Yi Chunfeng. If that Feng Chun could really refine the ancient path golden pill and its quality was above 5 veins, then he might really be able to rush into the top 10 of this competition. That's right, that little guy is very powerful. Not only does he have alchemy skills that make even us exclaim in admiration, his strength is also ridiculously strong. I really want to know which old monster had such a monstrous disciple. Thinking about what happened last night in the Fire God City, Great Elder Xian Zhong Ting nodded and exclaimed. Not only were the 4 upper echelons of the single sky hall paying attention to Yi Chunfeng, many people in the viewing pavilion were also paying attention to Yi Chunfeng's stunning performance yesterday. They really wanted to know what kind of miracle he would create today. Master, with your eyesight, can you tell what grade of pill Yi Chunfeng and Huoling are refining? Although Fire Sky Halberd was a saint alchemist, he could only be considered the weakest one. No matter if it was his eyesight or experience, he couldn't compare to Yao Yan. He couldn't tell what grade of pill Yi Chunfeng and Huoling were refining. Feng Chun was refining the ancient path golden pill, while Huoling was refining the Bodhi ancient path golden pill. Yao Yan had a special liking for spirit tea. He savored the spirit tea and slowly said, Ancient path golden pill, that little bastard actually dared to refine the ancient path golden pill. Fire Sky Halberd had heard of these 2 ancient path golden pills. In terms of quality and medicinal efficacy, the Bodhi ancient path golden pill couldn't be compared to the ancient path golden pill. Moreover, the difficulty of refining the ancient path golden pill was extraordinarily high. Even he didn't have an 80% chance of success. Interesting, that little bastard really surprises me time and time again. After last night's twists and turns, he still dares to refine the ancient path golden pill. He really isn't simple. Yao Yan revealed a faint smile and said calmly. Looking at Yao Yan's calm face, Fire Sky Halberd really wanted to ask if he was the one who instigated last night's incident. However, when the words reached his mouth, Fire Sky Halberd swallowed them back down. Fire Halberd, do you want to ask if I was the one who sent people to assassinate Feng Chun last night? Yao Yan seemed to have seen through Fire Sky Halberd's thoughts. He put down his teacup and asked indifferently. No, I don't dare to ask about Master's matters. Fire Sky Halberd quickly denied it. Actually, you already know the answer in your heart. However, I can tell you clearly that last night's incident had nothing to do with me. If I wanted to make a move, he would have died without a doubt. Although Yao Yan's face was expressionless, his calm words revealed an incomparable confidence. It was as if he could completely control a person's life and death. If it wasn't his master, then who could it be? Hearing Yao Yan's denial, Fire Sky Halberd fell into deep thought. In the end, he guessed that the assassination attempt on Yi Chunfeng was most likely related to that saint pill. Time quickly passed, and a day passed in the blink of an eye. After a day of refining, Yi Chunfeng finally fused the 48 spirit liquids together, forming the embryonic form of the Tao core that contained the power of the great Tao. Although the fusion process was very smooth without any flaws, condensing the Tao core was the most important and also the most difficult step. It was easy to make a mistake when carving the ancient pill runes. Once a mistake was made, the refinement would fail, and the consumption of energy to condense the ancient pill runes was even more terrifying. Without the support of a powerful soul, it was impossible to continuously condense the ancient Tao runes for 2 days. Yi Chunfeng continuously breathed the death blaze heavenly fire into the vermilion bird cauldron, increasing the temperature of the flames in the cauldron. His hands moved like flowing water, and combined with the changes in his soul, he continuously condensed the mysterious ancient pill runes. Through the vermilion bird cauldron, they merged into the embryonic form of the golden pill. When Yi Chunfeng began to condense the ancient pill runes, the fire spirit saint, who was slightly faster than him, was also condensing the ancient pill runes calmly. He was doing everything he could to increase the quality of the Bodhi ancient path pill and give Yi Chunfeng a show of strength. Slowly, another day passed, and the semi-finals came to an end. Mobile reading site. Book address. To facilitate your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record your reading record. You'll be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1171. Pung, pung. Near the end, an ear-piercing sound of pills exploding suddenly rang out in the silent and oppressive Skyfire world. An 8th-grade alchemist had made a mistake while condensing the pill patterns, causing the medicinal power in the pill to leak out. The flame went out of control, and the furnace exploded, causing all his efforts to go to waste. Perhaps they were infected by the failure of this 8th-grade alchemist. But in the next hour, more alchemists failed. However, the continuous explosions did not affect Yi Chunfeng and the rest. Yi Chunfeng cleared all distracting thoughts and released his powerful soul spirit to control the flames in the vermilion bird cauldron. At the same time, he condensed the ancient pill patterns and increased the quality of the ancient path golden core. Although Yi Chunfeng's soul spirit had reached the level of a 3-star Tao saint, continuously condensing the mysterious ancient pill patterns and controlling the death flame heavenly fire to refine pills still made Yi Chunfeng's soul spirit feel a little tired. However, unless he had no other choice, he did not want to expose the sky-burning initial sacred flame too early. He kept spitting the death flame heavenly fire into the vermilion bird cauldron to increase the speed of condensing the ancient path golden core. After another 6 hours, there was not much sand left in the hourglass. The saint son of fire spirit's eyes suddenly shone brightly. He spat out a mouthful of essence blood from his mouth and melted into the 3-legged cauldron. After absorbing the flame spirit saint's blood essence, the heavenly fire in the cauldron became even more vigorous. It crazily refined the Bodhi ancient path pill that was violently tumbling in the flames. Finally, after the flame spirit saint's blood essence increased the power of the flames, the Bodhi ancient path pill was successfully refined. It was like a beast that had just awoken. It broke through the boiling hot lid and floated in the void. 8 Mark Bodhi Ancient Path Pill. Seeing the 8 mysterious pill patterns on the surface of the Bodhi Ancient Path Pill that the Flame Spirit Saint had refined Many people in the viewing pavilion exclaimed. The Flame Spirit Saint is indeed a rare alchemy genius of the Sacred Fire Valley. He can refine an 8-mark ancient path pill at such a young age. His potential is unimaginable. Yes, the Flame Spirit Saint is too scary. If he is given time, he will definitely become a saint alchemist. He might even become the youngest saint alchemist in the Central World. By the way, have you heard about the bet between Feng Chun and the Fire Spirit Holy Sun? Suddenly, someone in the viewing pavilion asked. Of course I have. Although Feng Chun's performance yesterday was amazing, I feel that there is still a big gap between him and the Flame Spirit Saint. It is inevitable that he will kowtow and apologize. After witnessing the Flame Spirit Saint Sun refine the 8 runes ancient Tao pill through the light barrier, the spectators in the viewing pavilions were all stunned by the Flame Spirit Saint Sun's superb alchemy skills. Almost no one thought highly of Yi Chenfeng anymore. Even Wang Tian Marquis and Mu Qinghua were slightly worried about Yi Chenfeng. They were worried that he would be distracted by the Flame Spirit Saint Sun and fail at the last moment. Just as the Fire Spirit Holy Sun held the 8-mark Bodhi Ancient Way pill in his hand and looked at Yi Chenfeng proudly, beams of fire were released from the Phoenix burning furnace. Zhao Yiyin shouted as her hands quickly moved, forming a series of mysterious hand seals that heavily struck the boiling hot walls of the Phoenix incinerating furnace. In the next moment, the scorching hot Bodhi Ancient Way pill flew out of the Phoenix burning furnace, releasing a gentle white light as it hovered in the air. 8 runes. He actually refined an 8-mark Ancient Way pill. Seeing that the Bodhi Ancient Way pill floating above Zhao Yin's head had also reached the 8-mark quality, the Flame Spirit Holy Sun raised his eyebrows in disbelief. He knew how difficult it was to refine an 8-mark Bodhi Ancient Way pill. If he hadn't read Yao Yan's tens of thousands of years of alchemy experience, which allowed his alchemy skills to be reborn and open his eyes, he definitely wouldn't have been able to refine an 8-mark Ancient Way pill. Could it be that he can really refine an Ancient Way golden pill? Thinking of this, the Flame Spirit Holy Sun's gaze couldn't help but drift to the stone platform beside him. Yi Chenfeng's face was slightly pale. Seeing the slightly strained Yi Chenfeng, the Flame Spirit Holy Sun's lips curled up slightly, revealing a mocking smile as he relaxed. He felt that even if Yi Chenfeng managed to refine an Ancient Way golden pill at the last moment, it would still be impossible for him to refine a 5-mark Ancient Way golden pill. Although the Bodhi Ancient Way pill was inferior to the Ancient Way golden pill, in terms of alchemy quality, the Flame Spirit Holy Sun could surpass Yi Chenfeng and obtain the final victory. And judging from Yi Chenfeng's strained appearance, there was an 80% chance that Yi Chenfeng would fail at the last moment, or that he wouldn't be able to refine an Ancient Way golden pill within the time limit. After the Flame Spirit Holy Sun and Zhao Yiyin, many other Grade 9 alchemists also completed their alchemy. However, even more people failed at the last moment. Time passed by slowly. Seeing that the fire and sand in the funnel had run out, Yi Chenfeng's hands, which were covered in Ancient Way golden pill patterns, fiercely pressed them into the vermilion bird cauldron. Following this, an ear-piercing bird cry rang out. A lifelike vermilion bird phantom broke out of the scalding vermilion bird cauldron. In the vermilion bird's sharp beak was a dazzling golden Ancient Way golden pill that was releasing the power of the great Tao. Just as the Flame Spirit Holy Sun's eyes widened, wanting to see the quality of the Ancient Way golden pill that Yi Chenfeng had refined, the nimble Yi Chenfeng retrieved the Ancient Way golden pill from the vermilion bird phantom's beak. He sat cross-legged beside the stone platform and silently adjusted his breathing to recover the spiritual energy he had consumed. Mother Vastress Kerr, this kid is really lucky. He actually refined the Ancient Way golden pill at the last moment. The Flame Spirit Holy Sun cursed in his heart. However, although he did not see the quality of the Ancient Way golden pill that Yi Chenfeng had refined, judging from Yi Chenfeng's cautious attitude, he felt that the Ancient Way golden pill that Yi Chenfeng had refined should not be of high quality. Otherwise, Yi Chenfeng would have already shown off to him. Not long after Yi Qinfeng had refined the ancient Wei golden pill, the funnel had run out of fire sand. The 3-day semi-final competition had ended. The inhibition spell around the stone platforms had disappeared. Feng Chun, I did not expect you to be so lucky. Even I'm a bit envious. I wonder how many ancient Wei golden pill you have refined? The flame spirit Holy Sun looked provocatively at Yi Qinfeng, who was holding the ancient Wei golden pill in his hand. His face was slightly pale. He revealed a hint of mockery. What, flame spirit? Do you think that you have already won? Yi Qinfeng glanced at the flame spirit's Saint Sun coldly and said indifferently, Of course, I am the first to refine an 8-mark Bodhi ancient Wei pill. Who do you think can beat me in the semi-final? The flame spirit Holy Sun revealed a hint of arrogance and said, Although his arrogant words made many Tier 9 alchemists unhappy, the 8-mark Bodhi ancient Wei pill that he had refined was indeed unparalleled. The alchemists were angry but did not dare to say anything. Seeing the sullen expressions around him, the flame spirit Holy Sun's smile grew wider. He continued to provoke, All right, Feng Chun, stop hiding. Let us all see how many ancient Wei golden pill you have refined. Don't tell me it is only one ancient Wei golden pill that you have refined. Ah, a frog at the bottom of a well is a frog at the bottom of a well. You think you are invincible after refining an 8-mark Bodhi ancient Wei pill. What a joke. Yi Qinfeng shook his head. The corner of his mouth curled up. He revealed a hint of mockery and said, I really don't want to tell you that I have refined a 9-mark ancient Wei golden pill. What? Seeing Yi Qinfeng pinching the ancient Dao golden core between his fingers, not only was the flame spirit Saint Sun dumbfounded, but all the alchemists, including Jiao Yuyin, were also dumbfounded. The heavenly fire realm, which had been noisy just a moment ago, was now completely silent. Everyone's eyes were attracted to the 9-mark ancient Wei golden pill between Yi Qinfeng's fingers. It seemed to have a demonic nature. They could not pull themselves away. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click Save at the bottom to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1172. How? How is this possible? 9 runes, ancient path, golden elixir? Am I seeing things? The Saint Son of Fire Spirit came back to his senses and rubbed his eyes hard. He could not believe what he had seen and could not accept the result. All right, stop rubbing your eyes. You can't change the result, even if you rub your eyes. Yi Qinfeng looked at the stunned Saint Son of Fire Spirit and mocked him. Actually, I don't want to hurt you. However, you have overestimated yourself. Don't you feel like a clown now? You. Hearing Yi Qinfeng's blatant mockery, the Saint Son of Fire Spirit was so angry that he trembled and his lungs were about to explode. However, he could not find any words to refute. He was the one who had provoked him at the beginning. Now, he could only reap what he had sown. Feng Chun, the competition has just begun. Let's wait and see. I will be the one who has the last laugh. The Saint Son of Fire Spirit retorted coldly as he suppressed the anger in his heart. He did not look at Yi Qinfeng anymore. However, his twitching eyes betrayed his anger. A clown will always be a clown. You are always deceiving yourself. All right, I will let you dream for a while longer. Yi Qinfeng shook his head and said with a playful smile, All right, put your elixirs on the stone table and let the stone table examine them. Xian Zhongxin looked at Yi Qinfeng with admiration and announced loudly, Buzz, buzz, buzz. Beams of white light shone from the stone table. The mysterious stone table seemed to have a life of its own. It swallowed the elixirs that the alchemists had refined and started to examine the quality of their elixirs. It also checked whether the elixirs were complete and ranked them according to their overall results. Soon, the rankings were out. A huge crystal screen appeared in the sky above the heavenly fire world. Everyone's results and the quality of their elixirs appeared on the screen. Yi Qinfeng had refined the 9 runes ancient path golden elixir and won first place in the semifinals. Although the Saint Son of Fire Spirit and Jiao Yuyin had refined the 8 runes ancient path golden elixir, the Saint Son of Fire Spirit was slightly faster than Jiao Yuyin and ranked second. Looking at the rankings on the crystal screen, some people were pleasantly surprised, while others were regretful. And entering the semifinals tomorrow meant that Yi Chunfeng and Jiao Yuyin had both entered the top 20 of this alchemy conference, and even obtained a 9-star emblem. This kind of result was something that Jiao Yuyin had never imagined, nor did she dare to imagine. When Xin Zhongxin was giving out rewards to the alchemists who had failed to qualify for the semifinals but had made it to the top 100 in the alchemy conference, he had witnessed Yi Chunfeng refine a 9-rune ancient path golden pill and rank first, causing an uproar in several viewing pavilions. Heavens, that Feng Chun is really a monster. He actually managed to refine a 9-rune ancient path golden pill. Why haven't I heard of his name before? Yes, the Flame Spirit Holy Sun is already abnormal enough, but compared to Feng Chun, he is still too far away. A 9-rune ancient path golden core. Perhaps even a sacred alchemy master might not be as outstanding as him. Looks like he dared to bet with the Flame Spirit Holy Sun in front of everyone. So he must have enough strength. Maybe he really will have the last laugh. Feng Chun, the Flame Spirit Holy Sun, is very outstanding. And so is that unbelievably beautiful Jiao Yuyin. I didn't expect that there would be 3 dark horses in this alchemy conference. I wonder if they can shake the Sacred Alchemy Master's position and make it to the top 10. After witnessing Yi Chunfeng turning the tide and suppressing the Flame Spirit Holy Sun, Yi Chunfeng's stunning performance once again won over the audience in the viewing pavilions. Amazing. I thought that the assassination a few days ago would have some impact on Feng Chun, but I didn't expect him to finish the competition with such an outstanding performance. If an 8-rune ancient path golden pill is the limit of the Flame Spirit Holy Sun, then he will definitely lose. Wang Tian Marquis revealed a graceful smile. He kept thinking about how to break through the window paper and bring Yi Chunfeng and Jiao Yuyin together. How can this be? How old is that little bastard? How can he refine a 9-rune ancient path golden pill? Looking at the ranking on the crystal light wall, Fire Sky Halberd's face became extremely ugly. With Yi Chunfeng's performance today, it would be extremely difficult for the Flame Spirit Holy Sun to defeat him in the semifinals. Thinking of the consequences of failure, Fire Sky Halberd could no longer remain calm. Master, you must help Fire Spirit again. The Sacred Fire Valley can't afford to lose. Fire Sky Halberd looked at the calm Yao Yin with pleading eyes and pleaded. An 8-rune Bodhi Ancient Path Golden Pill is probably Fire Spirit's limit, and a 9-rune Ancient Path Golden Pill shouldn't be Feng Chen's limit. Yao Yin stared at the ranking on the light wall and said lightly, "It will be difficult for Fire Spirit to turn the tide in the semi-finals. Master, I don't know if you can lend your Saint Furnace to Fire Spirit. With your Saint Furnace, Fire Spirit's performance will definitely rise to another level, and he will defeat Feng Chun in the semi-finals." Fire Sky Halberd gritted his teeth and suddenly knelt on the ground. In order to defeat Yi Chunfeng, he no longer cared about his reputation. Sky Halberd, you should know that I am enemies with the Heavenly Hall. If I lend the Holy Sovereign Cauldron to Fire Spirit, it will disrupt the final ranking, and it will very likely bring trouble to him and the Sacred Fire Valley. Yao Yin looked at Fire Sky Halberd, who was kneeling on the ground and begging him, and said slowly, "As long as I can defeat that little bastard, take the divine elixir pill from him, and protect the Sacred Fire Valley's biggest secret, I am willing to take this risk." Fire Sky Halberd gritted his teeth and said, "All right, since you are willing to take the risk, I will lend the Holy Sovereign Cauldron to Fire Spirit. However, whether he could defeat Feng Chun in the end, only God knows." Yao Yin pondered for a moment and finally decided, "Thank you, Master. I will never forget Master's kindness." Fire Sky Halberd said emotionally as he knelt on the ground without any regard for his dignity and kowtowed 3 times to the unfathomable Yao Yin. Yao Yin's Holy Sovereign Cauldron could be said to be one of the 3 strongest cauldrons in the Central World. It had reached the level of a middle-grade sacred treasure. Although the fire spirit saint was unable to control the holy sovereign cauldron and unleash its full power with his strength, he could still use the holy sovereign cauldron to increase his results in a short period of time and refine a 10-rune ancient Tao pill. Feng Chun, where did you come from? Yao Yan's gaze was deep as he looked at the wall of light, at the calm and unruffled Yi Chunfeng. It could be said that Yi Chunfeng's performance today had completely exceeded Yao Yan's expectations. Yao Yan kept thinking about which great power had nurtured such a demonic genius. Could Feng Chun be related to those old fellas? After pondering for a while, Yao Yan thought that only those old fellas in the Sky Hall could have groomed Yi Chunfeng, a demonic genius. He could not help but reveal a trace of ruthlessness in his eyes. However, what Yao Yan did not expect was that Yi Chunfeng had nothing to do with Xian Hongzheng and the others. At this time, Xian Hongzheng and the others in the Fire God world were also stunned by Yi Chunfeng's stunning performance. All right, today's semifinals are over. The alchemists who have advanced to the semifinals can take a day off tomorrow. The semifinals will continue the day after tomorrow. Xian Zhongxin floated in the air and looked at the alchemists who had gained and lost some. He then opened the entrance to the heavenly fire world. Let's go back. Yi Chunfeng and Jiao Yuyin, who had both advanced to the semi-finals, flew towards the entrance of the heavenly fire world. They disappeared into the mysterious heavenly fire world with the other alchemists. Mobile reading site. Book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1173. Marquee, Pavilion Elder. From today onwards, the Wangtian Pavilion will be an 8th grade pavilion. When Yi Chunfeng and Jiao Yin walked out of the Fire God Palace, they saw the Wangtian Marquee and the others waiting outside. Yi Chunfeng revealed a faint smile. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement test. Thank you. Feng Chun, we owe you too much. I think that only by betrothing Yin, to you will we be able to repay our debt. Wangtian Marquis smiled as he looked at Yi Chunfeng and Jiao Yuyin, who were like a golden couple. Hearing the Wangtian Marquis words, Jiao Yuyin's delicate face suddenly blushed, while Yi Chunfeng chose to remain silent, not knowing how to reply. Just when the atmosphere was slightly awkward, a charming fragrance slowly drifted over. Shui Hanyin, who was wearing a white male outfit and waving a jade fan, exuded a different kind of beauty. Accompanied by 2 Nirvana realm guards, she slowly walked to the front of Yi Chunfeng. She lightly tiptoed and intimately whispered a few words into Yi Chunfeng's ear. Leaving behind a beautiful back view, she turned around and left. Shui Hanyin, the little princess of Octahead Kingdom. Wangtian Marquis recognized the cross-dressing Shui Hanyin and frowned slightly. Feng Chun, you know each other? Yeah, she and I could be considered friends. Yi Chunfeng nodded and admitted. AI, let's go back. Wangtian Marquis felt that the relationship between Yi Chunfeng and Shui Hanyin was not simple. In addition, the intimate actions of the two just now made people's imaginations run wild. Wangtian Marquis glanced at Jiao Yuyin, who was biting her lips, and sighed softly in his heart. He returned to the Tao Addict's ancient courtyard. Good disciple, Feng Chun, your performance today was very good. Perform well the day after tomorrow and strive to enter the finals. The Tao Addict, who had returned early, said in a good mood when she saw Yi Chunfeng and the others. Master, we will do our best. The absent-minded Jiao Yuyin said softly. Seeing that Jiao Yuyin was not in a good mood, the Tao Addict thought that she was tired and said softly, You must be tired. Rest well. With me here, no one can disturb you. Then, Master, I'm going back to my room. Jiao Yuyin glanced at Yi Chunfeng and returned to her room. Yi Chunfeng also didn't stay in the courtyard and returned to his own room. The night was getting deeper and deeper. The stars were twinkling in the sky, and everything was quiet. Yuyin, are you resting? In the dead of night, Yi Chunfeng suddenly came to Jiao Yuyan's room and gently knocked on the door. Feng Chun, it's already so late. Why are you looking for me? Upon hearing Yi Chunfeng's voice coming from outside, Jiao Yiyin opened the door and softly asked. She was wearing a white chiffon nightgown, her long black hair casually draped over her shoulders, revealing her snow-white skin and exquisite curves. I want to talk to you. Do you have time? Looking at Jiao Yiyin's beautiful face, Yi Chunfeng smiled and said softly, Come in. Jiao Yiyin nodded and welcomed Yi Chunfeng into the room with her bare feet. She very considerately poured a cup of spiritual tea for him and sat opposite him in silence. Yiyin, I wonder if you are interested in hearing my story? Yi Chunfeng said softly as he looked at Jiao Yiyin, who was as beautiful as a fairy under the illumination of the moonlight. Sure. Jiao Yiyin's eyes lit up and revealed a faint smile. Feng Chun isn't my real name. My real name is Yi Chunfeng, and I already have a wife. Yi Chunfeng told Jiao Yiyin his real name and told her about his experiences. However, he deliberately concealed his identity as a foreigner and told his story to the Central World. He also told her about his relationship with Yu Nikang. At first, when she found out that Yi Chunfeng was married, Jiao Yiyin's delicate face paled and her heart felt as if it was pierced by needles. However, when she heard that his wife, Yu Nikang, was actually the reincarnation of a supreme expert of the heaven domain and had already left this world, she was deeply shocked. She was even more attracted by Yi Chunfeng's extraordinary story and his bumpy experiences. Feng Chun, is this the reason why you keep rejecting me? Jiao Yiyin gently bit her thin lips and looked at Yi Chunfeng's clear eyes and asked, That's only one of the reasons. The most important reason is that I wholeheartedly pursue the Supreme Tao. I don't want to be tied down by emotions. The fighting spirit continent isn't my final destination. In this life, I will definitely ascend to the heaven domain. Yi Chunfeng slowly said, his voice filled with incomparable conviction. Ascend to the heaven domain? Is it because of her? Jiao Yiyin softly asked. One is to prove my Tao, and the other is for her. Yi Chunfeng nodded and calmly said, Feng Chun, to be honest, I am quite envious of her. However, if one day you step onto the peak of the martial Tao, will you accept me? Jiao Yiyin lightly bit her lips and suddenly boldly asked, This, I will. Yi Chunfeng indeed had a good impression of Jiao Yiyin and didn't lie to himself. He nodded and said, Then I will wait for the day you step onto the peak of the martial Tao. Jiao Yiyin suddenly blossomed with a smile that was more beautiful than a flower and firmly said. But Jiao Yiyin took the initiative to hold Yi Chunfeng's big hand, looked into his eyes, and firmly said, No buts, this is what I am willing to do. Furthermore, I believe that you will definitely step onto the peak of the martial Tao. As for me, I will also cultivate with all my might, hoping that one day I will be able to help you. All right, then you should properly cultivate with Senior Tao Addict. However, Yin, if one day you reach the peak of rank 6 combat Beast Emperor, remember not to change your cultivation to Nirvana Realm. Yi Chunfeng was moved by Jiao Yiyin's sincerity. He decided that one day, when he refined a heavenly sacred breaking pellet, he would leave one for her. Why? Jiao Yiyin puzzledly asked. It's a secret for now. You will know when the time comes. Yi Chunfeng faintly smiled and pretended to be mysterious. All right then. The obedient Jiao Yiyin didn't ask anymore. A trace of craftiness appeared in her eyes as she revealed 2 dimples. She looked at Yi Chunfeng and said, Feng Chun, what's the relationship between you and that Hakone Divine Nation's princess? Is she also someone who admires you? Her? Our relationship can only be considered as using each other. Even if we are together, it is destined to be short-lived. Yi Chunfeng thought for a while and said softly, All right, I've said everything I need to say. I hope you can undo the knot in your heart and don't delay your cultivation. Yi Chunfeng gently tucked a strand of long hair behind her ear and said softly, My knot in my heart has been undone. I will wait for you to step onto the peak of martial arts. Jiao Yin gently said, Feng Chun, stay in my room tonight and cultivate the immortal soul technique with me. I feel that when you refined the ancient path pellet today, your soul power was still not enough. All right. Yi Qinfeng nodded and walked with Jiao Yuyin to the big bed that was emitting a faint fragrance. They sat on the big bed hand in hand and released their soul power without any reservation. They used the most intimate method to cultivate the immortal soul technique to strengthen their soul power. In order to further strengthen their soul power, Yi Qinfeng took out 5 precious drops of heavenly soul Y and melted them into their soul power while they cultivated the immortal soul technique. He used the soul millstone to further refine his soul power. Soon, a day had passed. With the nourishment of the 5 drops of heavenly soul Y and the deep soul fusion cultivation, their soul power was enhanced again. More importantly, Jiao Yuyin had undone the knot in her heart and was in a surprisingly good state. Finally, it's the semi-finals. Hualing, today I will definitely send you from heaven to hell. Yi Qinfeng stretched lazily and glanced at the Jade Maiden, whose face was rosy and whose eyes were closed. She looked even more beautiful than a fairy. Then, he revealed an unruly smile as he thought to himself. Mobile reading site. Book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1174. Feng Chun, Yuyan, don't feel too burdened. We will continue to look forward to your brilliant performance. Good luck. Stepping on the first rays of dawn, they arrived outside the fire god shrine and sent Yi Qinfeng and Jiao Yuyin off with his eyes. Chinese network won not long after the two of them entered the fire god shrine. A powerful aura appeared. A white-haired old man with a short stature, full of spirit, a trace of arrogance on his face, and a badge that symbolized the highest status on his chest walked into the fire god shrine with tiger steps. Feng Chun, that old man is known as the Saint of Pills, Great Master Nirvana. He is the #1 Saint Master of our 9 Heavens Divine Kingdom. Jiao Yuyin transmitted her voice to Yi Qinfeng and introduced him. Powerful. Yi Qinfeng looked at Great Master Nirvana from afar and felt that he had merged with the space around him. If one didn't look at him with their eyes, they wouldn't be able to sense his existence. Not long after Great Master Nirvana's arrival, Great Master Dan Xian of Octave Divine Kingdom, Great Master Bai Luo of the Kirin Kingdom, and Great Master Shuiyue of the Hidden Vast Heaven Palace arrived one after another. Although they didn't communicate with each other, they stood proudly in the fire god shrine and gave off a great pressure. It was as if they were towering mountains that couldn't be shaken. Just as Yi Qinfeng was secretly sizing up his main competitors, Yi Qinfeng's sharp senses sensed 4 sharp gazes locked onto him. Fire Sky Halberd, I didn't expect him to sign up as well. Looking at the tall and sturdy Fire Sky Halberd beside the Saint Son of the Fire Spirit, Yi Qinfeng revealed a playful smile. However, although Fire Sky Halberd was also a Saint Master, he wasn't Yi Qinfeng's main target. Yi Qinfeng coldly glanced at him before retracting his gaze and patiently waiting. Soon, the 20 alchemists participating in the semifinals all arrived. These 20 people represented the highest level of alchemy inheritance in the Central World. Everyone, it has been a long time. Suddenly, a crack appeared in the silent space. Led by Hall Master Xian Hongzheng, the 5 big shots of the Heavenly Palace walked out of the Fire God world and arrived at the Fire God Shrine. Hall Master Xian, don't waste any more time. Let's start the competition. Grandmaster Nirvana, who was meditating with his eyes closed, opened his turbid eyes. He looked at Xian Hongzheng, who looked like an immortal, and slowly said, Master Nirvana, don't worry. Let me introduce the rules of the competition to these little fellows who are entering the semifinals for the first time before we start the competition. Xian Hong revealed a kind smile and said softly, the semifinals are the same as the semifinals. It's an elimination competition. Only 10 of you can enter the finals. For the sake of fairness, the pill recipes and herbs will all be provided by my Heavenly Palace. The pills that you make will also belong to my Heavenly Palace. Although the Sky Hall's alchemy competition consumed a lot of resources, they also gained a lot. Just the elixirs that were refined in each alchemy competition were enough to make up for their huge consumption. It should be known that the ancient path pill and other pills were extremely valuable, not to mention the quasi-sage pill that might appear. If all these pills belonged to the Heavenly Palace, then the resources they controlled would be unimaginably powerful. All right, the semifinals will last for 5 days. You can choose your pill formulas now. Then, the Qian Kuan ring on Vice Palace Lord Xian Qingyun's hand shone with rays of white light. Nearly 100 jade scrolls with different pill formulas floated in front of him. At this time, Master Nirvana and the others all released their powerful souls into the jade scrolls to choose their pill formulas. Soon, everyone had chosen their pill formulas. Because the difficulty of refining the quasi-sage pill was extremely high, other than Master Nirvana, Master Danexen, Master Bai Luo, and Master Shuiwei, everyone else chose to refine the Ancient Path pill. Yi Chenfeng chose to refine the Ancient Path pill, called the Immortal Ancient Dew pill. It could increase the power of Nirvana's supreme beings without any side effects. The Immortal Ancient Dew pill could be said to be the Ancient Path pill with the highest quality and the most difficult pill formula to refine. It required 108 types of herbs. Other than Yi Chenfeng, 7 others chose to refine the Immortal Ancient Dew pill, including Fire Sky Halberd and the Flame Spirit Saint Sun. The 5 of us will be the judges for this competition. Does anyone have any objections? After Yi Chenfeng and the others finished choosing their pill formulas, the highly respected and authoritative Xian Hong revealed a faint smile and said, "I have objections." Suddenly, the restriction on the Fire God Palace's door was forcefully torn apart. Yao Yan, who was wearing a long black robe, suddenly appeared and said slowly, "Yao Yan." Looking at the sudden appearance of Yao Yan, Xian Hong and the others' faces suddenly darkened. "Yao Yan, we don't welcome you here. You can leave now," Xian Qingyun said rudely. Xian Hong didn't even say anything, and you, a deputy palace master, wanted to steal the limelight? Yao Yan's face didn't have a trace of anger as he said casually, "Qingyun's words represent me. Yao Yan, our Sky Hall doesn't welcome you. You can leave now." Xian Hong Yun said indifferently, "Xian Hong, I'm not here to cause trouble today. I'm only here to be a witness for my disciple and grand disciple to prevent you from bullying them." Yao Yan said slowly. He didn't have any intention of leaving. With Grandmaster Nirvana and Grandmaster Pillheart around, do you think my Sky Palace will be unfair? Don't think that everyone is like you, kind on the outside but cold on the inside. You are ruthless for your own selfish gain, said Xian Hongzheng coldly. Xian Hongzheng, it seems like you're still afraid that my disciple will beat your disciple. That's why you're making so many excuses. Yao Yan mistakenly thought that Yi Chenfeng was Xian Hongzheng's disciple. He said lightly, "How about this? I only need one sentence from you. If you're willing to admit that you're afraid of me, I'll leave immediately and never step into your Fire God City again." Xian Hongzheng suddenly laughed and said slowly, "So you think that Feng Chun is our disciple? What? You don't even dare to admit that he's your disciple?" Yao Yan showed a trace of sarcasm. In his opinion, only the Sky Hall could cultivate a monstrous alchemist like Yi Chenfeng. I want Feng Chun to be our disciple, but unfortunately he's not. Xian Hongzheng shook his head and said, "Feng Chun, this old guy wants to witness the competition between you and his disciple. Do you have the confidence to defeat them?" "Yes, I have full confidence." Yi Chenfeng was stunned. He looked at Xian Hongzheng, who was looking at him with a kind gaze, and said confidently, "Haha, good. Since you have the confidence, I'll make an exception and keep this old guy here. I hope that after the semifinals, you can make him lose face." Xian Hongzheng looked at Yi Chenfeng, who was brimming with confidence, and said with a light smile, "Don't worry, Senior. They will lose without a doubt," Yi Chenfeng said confidently. "The competition hasn't started yet. Isn't it too early to talk about victory?" Fire Sky Halberd suppressed the anger in his heart and looked at Yi Chenfeng with clenched teeth. "If you chose the Quasi-Saint Dan, it's too early to talk about victory. But you chose to refine the same Dan as me, so you're destined to lose." Yi Chen-feng said overbearingly. You, Fire Sky Halberd didn't expect Yi Chen-feng to be so arrogant. He was so angry that his face turned black. All right, let's not waste time arguing. In this world, everything depends on strength. Arguing with words is just a child's play. Yao Yan didn't look at Yi Chen-feng at all. His voice was full of ridicule and disdain. Senior is right. What I can't stand the most is some people who act like they're the best, but are actually idiots. Yi Chen-feng smiled and cleverly attacked. You. Fire Sky Halberd's suppressed anger was ignited again. His lungs were about to explode. Xian Hongzheng, can the competition begin? Yao Yan's eyes flashed with a sharp light as he said lightly. All right, get ready to start the competition. Xian Hongzheng smiled and announced loudly. In the next moment, 20 independent spaces appeared in the sky above the Fire God Temple. These 20 independent spaces were the alchemy grounds for everyone. Mobile reading home, book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you can see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1175. What a mysterious space. I really don't know which almighty person created this. Flying into an independent space, Yi Chen-feng found that the space was very stable and removed all the disturbances from the outside world. The space was full of spiritual qi, which could continuously replenish the consumption of alchemy. It was an excellent place for alchemy. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test TextNet 1. Just as Yi Chen-feng sat cross-legged in the independent space and adjusted his state of mind, water ripples suddenly appeared in the independent space. Spiritual herbs needed for alchemy appeared in the independent space. At this time, a huge funnel appeared in the void. When the first grain of fire sand fell down, the fierce semi-finals began. Buzz, one after another, pill furnaces appeared in the 20 independent spaces, releasing endless flames, illuminating the entire space in a fiery red color. The Holy Lord Tripod. The Saint Son of Fire Spirit summoned the Holy Lord Tripod. When Xian Hongzheng and the others saw the Saint Son of Fire Spirit summon the black tripod with ancient engravings and floating above their heads, they all showed a trace of anger. Yao Yan, you are indeed a despicable person. Isn't it unfair for you to do this? The hot-tempered first elder Xian Zhongting glared at Yao Yan, who was sitting on an ancient wooden chair and drinking tea calmly, and said in a low voice, what was fairness in this world where the strong preyed on the weak? Yao Yan raised his eyelids slightly, glanced at Xian Zhongting, and said lightly, can fairness be eaten? Also, do you have a written rule that you can't borrow alchemy furnaces? Xian Zhongting, if you are afraid of losing, just say it. Then even if you lose, I won't humiliate you. Yao Yan, I believe that my vision is better than yours. Even if you lend the Holy Lord Tripod to that junior, you can't change the result. Xian Hongzheng looked at Yao Yan, who tried to overthrow the Heavenly Palace and caused great losses to the Heavenly Palace, and said in a low voice, if it weren't for the hidden power that Yao Yan controlled, Xian Hongzheng would have suppressed him if he dared to appear in the Heavenly Palace. Let's wait and see who will have the last laugh. The corners of Yao Yan's mouth curled up slightly as he spoke with a calm expression. It was as though victory was already within his grasp. The source of his confidence was not only the Holy Sovereign Cauldron, but also other hidden tricks. Not only did he lend the Sage Sovereign Cauldron to Yao Yan, but he also left a hidden card in the Sage Sovereign Cauldron. He left the Sage Sovereign Cauldron with the Sage Sovereign Cauldron, helping the Flame Spirit Saint Child improve the quality of the celestial ancient dew pellet at the last moment. As long as the Flame Spirit Saint's son could concoct the 10 marks immortal ancient dew pill, he would have an 80% chance of defeating Yi Chen-feng. He would even be undefeatable. This was also the reason why he was so calm. Well, I hope you have the guts to stay after the game. After he finished speaking, Xian Hong no longer paid attention to Yao Yan, who was sitting alone at the side. He cast his gaze toward the light wall and patiently waited for the final result. With 108 herbs, the difficulty of concocting this celestial ancient dew pill was more than just a little harder than concocting a great Tao golden core. Yi Chunfeng released his powerful soul and quickly sensed the attributes and medicinal properties of the herbs before him. However, these 108 herbs were too complex. Yi Chunfeng had to combine his soul and memories to slowly feel them out, wasting a lot of time. However, he was not in a hurry. He knew the importance of the early work. Only by understanding all the medicinal properties of these 108 herbs could he deal with any situation that might arise during the concoction process. Not only was Yi Chunfeng not in a hurry to concoct the pill, but Master Nirvana and the other three who chose to concoct the quasi-holy pill were also patiently trying to understand the herbs before them. They were making detailed preparations for concocting the pill. About 6 hours later, Yi Chunfeng, who had his eyes tightly shut and was controlling the God-Eater brain to deduce the medicinal properties of the herbs, suddenly opened his eyes. Rays of sharp light shot out from his eyes as if they were sparkling stars. Using the God-Eater brain to completely understand the medicinal properties of these 108 herbs, Yi Chunfeng put 10 drops of soul fluid in his mouth and summoned the Suzaku cauldron. He was ready to concoct the pill. 10,000-year green spirit vine, purple leaf orchid, Bodhi flower, green lotus fruit melt. Yi Chunfeng continuously spat out more than 10 mouthfuls of death flame heavenly fire into the Suzaku cauldron, igniting it. Then, he threw in 4 herbs with the same medicinal properties into the Suzaku cauldron. Under the amplification of the Suzaku cauldron and the melting of the death flame heavenly fire, the 4 valuable herbs instantly withered and melted, turning into 4 balls of green spirit liquid. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Yi Chunfeng's soul force exploded and poured into the scorching Suzaku cauldron. Through exquisite fire control, the impurities in the 4 balls of spirit liquid were separated and melted away. However, the medicinal properties of the spirit liquid were not damaged at all. After successfully purifying the 4 spiritual herbs, Yi Chunfeng's hands moved like lightning. He grabbed the 4 spiritual herbs and tossed them into the vermilion bird cauldron. Through his exquisite control of fire, he purified the spiritual herbs. Time slowly passed. The 20 top alchemists of the central world used all their skills to continuously purify the herbs. Soon, a day had passed. During this day, no one completed all the purification. This showed how difficult it was to concoct the quasi-saint pill, the top ancient path pill. 99 herbs had been purified. There were only 9 left before he could completely purify them. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and swallowed a drop of soul fluid. While recovering his exhausted soul force, he proceeded to purify the remaining 9 heaven and earth spirit herbs. At this moment, the slowly spinning holy sovereign cauldron suddenly burst into flames. With the power of the holy sovereign cauldron, the fire spirit saint was the first to complete the purification. He quickly swallowed a pill to recover his soul and began to use his exquisite alchemy skills to refine the pill and condense the pill patterns. The difference between Fengchun and fire spirit cauldrons was too great. Relying on the old man's holy sovereign cauldron, fire spirit's advantage was too obvious. Looking at the fire spirit saint who stood out and was the first to complete the purification, Deputy Palace Lord Xian Qingyun couldn't help but frown. He transmitted his voice to Xian Hongzhen. Don't worry, the cauldron is just a worldly possession. Everything still depends on strength. I have a feeling that little guy will still create miracles. Xian Hongzhen looked at the calm and experienced Yi Chunfeng with a deep gaze as he slowly said. Not long after the saint son of fire spirit finished his purification, the other sacred masters also finished their purification. On the other hand, Yi Chunfeng took a longer time to study the 108 herbs. By the time he finished purifying all the herbs, the others had already started to refine the pills. Spiritual bead of life fuse. Yi Chunfeng got rid of all distracting thoughts. He was not affected by the outside world and started to condense the pill. When he used his mysterious alchemy skills to refine the celestial ancient dew pill, he exposed his trump card. For the first time, he controlled the spiritual pearl of life to release a powerful life force. As he condensed the pill pattern, it merged into the vermilion bird cauldron and increased the quality of the celestial ancient dew pill. As long as he could use the spiritual pearl of life to increase the quality of the celestial ancient dew pill to the level of a sage-to-be pill, he would definitely be able to enter the finals tomorrow. He would also be able to give Yao Yin and the fire spirit saint a heavy blow. However, it was his first time refining the celestial ancient dew pill. He was still a little unfamiliar with it. When he controlled the fire with his soul and constantly merged the life force to condense the ancient pill pattern, he accidentally made a small mistake. This small mistake directly caused the fire in the vermilion bird cauldron to become chaotic. The prototype of the pill that had just been condensed started to crack. There were signs of the pill exploding. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of our next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1176. Not good. Feng Chen's furnace fire is out of control. If it can't be controlled, the pill will explode. Through the light wall, Xian Qingyun and the others saw a large amount of death flame, heavenly fire coming out of the Suzaku cauldron. The entire cauldron was shaking violently. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test. Once Yi Chenfeng failed in this way, Yao Yin would definitely use this opportunity to humiliate them. The Heavenly Hall would also be humiliated. They were also clear about the bet between Yi Chenfeng and the Fire Spirit Saint. They were worried that once Yi Chenfeng failed, he would not be able to recover from this setback. This is the successor you chose? Is he not that good? Yao Yin said deliberately as he drank the spirit tea filled with spirit qi. He smiled faintly and looked at Xian Qingyun and the others who had lost their composure. I said that Feng Chun is not our successor, and the winner has not been decided yet. It is too early for you to be happy. Xian Hong retorted while looking coldly at Yao Yin. Although the pill in Yi Chenfeng's furnace could explode at any time, Yi Chenfeng did not panic at all. It was enough to show that he was confident in stabilizing the furnace fire and solving this problem. I don't care if you admit that the kid is related to you or not. But if the furnace fire is chaotic, it will directly cause the spirit liquid to be lost. So even if he completes the refinement in the end, the quality of the pill will not exceed 7 veins. So he will lose for sure. Yao Yin smiled faintly and said, Yao Yin, you better pray that your disciple and grand disciple can succeed, especially your grand disciple who you have high hopes for. I think his success rate of refining the immortal ancient dew pill is less than 50%. Great Elder Xian Zhongting retorted loudly. You don't need to worry about this, but I want to make a bet with you. I want to bet on the ancient sacred fire that you have suppressed. Do you dare? Because he had left a secret in the holy sovereign cauldron, Yao Yin was not worried that the Fire Spirit Saint would fail. Today, he came here to support Fire Sky Halberd and the others. He also wanted to obtain the ancient sacred fire that was known as the #1 sacred fire in the Central World. Yao Yin, I will not use the ancient accumulation sacred flame to bet with you. If you really want to bet, I can bet a saint pill with you. The ancient sacred fire was one of the most precious things in the Sky Palace. Xian Hongzheng did not dare to take the risk, but at this moment, he could not show any weakness. Moreover, he knew that Yi Chenfeng still had the first sacred fire, so he still had a chance. All right, I will bet with you. I hope that after you lose, you won't go back on your words. The value of Saint Pill was also extremely precious. Although he did not manage to obtain the ancient sacred flame, obtaining a Saint Pill was still not a small gain. Yao Yin did not hesitate to agree. Don't worry, my Sky Hall can afford to lose a Saint Elixir Pill. However, I feel that the final victor will be our Xian Hongzheng. He took out a white jade box with a large number of seals from his Chinkoan ring and sealed it in midair. Even now, you're still so stubborn. I hope you can still be so calm after the competition. Yao Yin smiled faintly and also took out a jade box and sealed it in midair. Inside these 2 jade boxes were 2 Saint Elixirs that could cause a storm of blood and make Nirvana Heavenly Realm experts fight over them. Hall Master, Do you really believe that Feng Chun can still turn the situation around? Hearing that Xian Hongzheng was betting with Yao Yan for a Saint Elixir pill of immeasurable value, Xian Qingyun and the others' expressions changed slightly. Until now, Yi Chenfeng had not stabilized the chaotic flame. Once he lost control, the Saint Elixir pill would explode. At that time, the Sky Hall would lose a Saint Elixir pill to Yao Yan. All right, let's watch the competition, Xian Hongzheng said calmly. His deep gaze pierced through the light barrier and locked onto Yi Chenfeng, who remained calm despite the chaos. Who? Looks like I can only reveal the sky-burning sacred fire. Even after using several alchemy techniques, he was still unable to stabilize the chaotic flame. Helpless, Yi Chenfeng used the second type of flame he had subdued. He spat out the sky-burning sacred fire and poured it into the vermilion bird cauldron. The sky-burning sacred fire's level was far higher than the death blaze heavenly flame. When the sky-burning sacred fire entered the vermilion bird cauldron, it immediately replaced the chaotic death blaze heavenly flame. In an instant, the violently trembling vermilion bird cauldron regained its calm. Oh, the sky-burning sacred fire. He still had this trump card. Looking at the sky-burning sacred fire summoned by Yi Chenfeng, Yao Yan's pupils unconsciously shrank. He did not expect that Yi Chenfeng, who was only a level 4 beast emperor, could actually subdue a sky-burning sacred fire. This made him even more suspicious that Yi Chenfeng was related to the Sky Hall. Just now, the flame went out of control and damaged some of the elixir's medicinal efficacy. He wondered if the spirit bead of life could replenish the missing medicinal efficacy. Feeling that the medicinal efficacy of the embryonic elixir was lacking, Yi Chenfeng continued to use his profound alchemy techniques. He infused the life force released by the spirit bead of life into the ancient elixir runes and into the embryonic elixir, restoring and increasing the medicinal efficacy of the elixir. Slowly, another day passed. The spirit bead of life was indeed a heavenly sacred artifact. After nearly a day of refining, Yi Chenfeng realized that the missing medicinal efficacy of the embryonic elixir had been restored by the spirit bead of life. Furthermore, after absorbing a large amount of life force, the celestial immortal ancient dew elixir showed signs of evolution. This made Yi Chenfeng secretly happy. He cleared away all distracting thoughts and wholeheartedly focused on refining the celestial immortal ancient dew elixir. The duration of the semifinals was 5 days long. However, no one left the viewing pavilion. They were all patiently waiting for the final result. When there was only a third of the fire sand left in the funnel, a sacred master from Nine Heavens God Kingdom was the first to refine a celestial immortal ancient dew pill and was the first to complete the competition. A 10-mark celestial immortal ancient dew elixir. Saint Master Half Moon from Nine Heavens Divine Kingdom was indeed extraordinary. He managed to refine the elixir to 10 marks in just 4 short days. With his alchemy skills, there was indeed hope for him to enter the top 3. Looking at the perfect 10-mark celestial immortal ancient dew elixir floating above Saint Master Half Moon's head, Xian Hongzheng and the others were full of praises. After Saint Master Half Moon from Nine Heavens Divine Kingdom, Saint Master Blood Dragon from Eight Head Divine Kingdom, and Saint Master Lai Feng from Kirin Kingdom also refined 10-mark celestial immortal ancient dew elixir. They sat cross-legged in their respective spaces to recover and wait for the final result. Because only Grandmaster Nirvana and the other 3 chose to refine the quasi-saint pill, Saint Master Half Moon, Saint Master Half Moon, and Saint Master Half Moon entered the final round without any suspense. Pung. On the last day, when the alchemists were using their mystical alchemy skills to speed up the condensation, a huge explosion sounded in one of the spaces. Saint Master Thousandbird from the Demonic Pattern Valley made a small mistake at the last moment, causing the explosion of the elixir to go to waste. And he himself suffered from the backlash of the heavenly fire that went out of control in the cauldron and was heavily injured. Black demonic holy flame to speed up the condensation. At this time, the fire spirit saint's son, who was on the verge of death and had used up a lot of his soul power, used the black demonic holy flame hidden in the holy sovereign cauldron to speed up the condensation. Finally, when there was only half a day left, the fire spirit Saint Sun used the terrifying power of the black demonic holy flame to finish the refinement before Fire Sky, Halberd, and the others. And with the help of the holy sovereign cauldron and the black demonic holy flame, his celestial immortal ancient dew elixir also reached 10 marks. It was perfect. Mobile reading site. Book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1177. Yao Yan, you despicable bastard. Not only did you lend the holy cauldron to Fire Spirit, you also hid the black demon holy flame you tamed in the holy cauldron. You are cheating. The moment the lid of the holy sovereign cauldron opened, wisps of black flames emerged. The experienced Xian Zhongting and the others immediately recognized that the black flames that emerged from the holy sovereign cauldron were the holy sovereign cauldron black demonic holy flame that Yao Yan had subdued. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test. The cheating Yao Yan put down the teacup in his hand and looked at the furious Xian Zhongting and the others. He said calmly, I think you are slandering me. What evidence do you have to prove that I hid the black demon holy flame in the holy cauldron? If you can't afford to lose, then just say it. Don't find such a tasteless excuse. Although Xian Hongzheng and the others saw the black demon holy flame come out of the holy cauldron, they didn't have the evidence to take control of the holy cauldron. This was why Yao Yan was so fearless. You really can't change your bad habits. Thousands of years have passed, and you are still the same. Xian Hongzheng's face also showed a trace of anger as he said angrily, the fire spirit Saint Sun used the holy cauldron and the black demon holy flame to make the 10 mark Yi Chunfeng first. This meant that Yi Chunfeng couldn't turn the tables and lost the competition between him and the fire spirit Saint Sun. More importantly, Yi Chunfeng made a mistake in the beginning, which greatly affected the quality of the elixir. It was basically impossible for him to make the 10 mark immortal ancient dew elixir. He basically lost the chance to enter the finals. If Yao Yan didn't lend the holy cauldron and the black demon holy flame to the fire spirit Saint Sun, Yi Chunfeng might not have lost. It could be said that Yao Yan's despicableness directly changed the result and could change Yi Chunfeng's fate. Xian Hongzheng, I didn't expect you to be such a sore loser. How disappointing. Yao Yan responded with a smile, as if the thousands of years of grievances were all released at this moment. While Xian Hongzheng and the others were arguing with Yao Yan, the Holy Light Saint Master from the Sword Sect also finished making the elixir. Without a doubt, the Holy Light Saint Master made the 10 mark immortal ancient dew elixir. If Master of Destruction and the others all made the quasi-saint elixir were all successful, then there would only one enter the finals. Buzz the space around the fire sky, Halberd suddenly fluctuated. Endless tongues of flame were released from the medicine furnace that was spinning rapidly in front of him. In the next moment, Fire Sky Halberd slammed his hands on the medicine furnace, and a celestial ancient dew pellet with a strong medicinal aroma flew out of the furnace and floated in the air. Not bad, not bad. 10 mark heavenly immortal ancient dew pill. Seeing that Fire Sky Halberd had refined a perfect heavenly immortal ancient dew pill, Yao Yan's smile grew wider. He looked at the gloomy Xian Hongzheng and the others provocatively and said, Xian Hongzheng, what do you have to say now? Yao Yan, the competition isn't over yet. Isn't it too early for you to be happy? Xian Hong was currently glaring at Yao Yan, a thick killing intent emerging in his heart. I think you really won't shed tears until you see the coffin. Now that there are only 4 spots left for the finals, do you think that kid still has a chance to advance? Yao Yan snorted and said, Don't tell me you think that kid can refine the Tianxian ancient Dew Dan to the level of quasi-holy Dan. You hearing Yao Yan's repeated provocations, Grand Elder Xian Zhongting could no longer suppress the killing intent in his heart. What? You can't afford to lose and want to fight? I already knew that you Heavenly Hall are a bunch of hypocrites. Yao Yan sneered and said fearlessly, Xian Zhongting, I'm sitting right here. If you want to fight, then do it. If I can't kill you in 10 moves, then consider it my loss. Grand Elder, don't be impulsive. Don't fall into his trap. Seeing that Yao Yin wanted to make a big deal out of this, the gloomy Xian Hongzheng immediately transmitted his voice to him. Although in Xian Hongzheng's opinion, Yi Chanfeng was powerless to reverse the situation and had already lost, if he were to make a move in front of so many people, what he would lose was not only his sacred pellet and his personal dignity. The Heavenly Hall's reputation would definitely be ruined because of this matter. In addition to his anger, Xian Hongzheng also regretted his impulsiveness. If he didn't want to use Yi Chanfeng to ruthlessly humiliate Yao Yin, then things wouldn't have ended up like this. Xian Zhongting didn't want to fight? Come, I'll wait for you here. Seeing that Xian Zhongting was suppressing his anger, Yao Yan's lips curled up slightly. He gave up his cold smile and continued to ridicule. Grand Elder, don't be angry. Did you forget that a dog can bite a man, but a man can bite a dog? Let's see how long he can keep shouting. Second Elder Xin Yinzhou was surprisingly calm. He glanced sharply at Yao Yin and coldly retorted, Fine, I'll let you deceive yourself for a while. I hope you still have the face to stay here after the competition. Yao Yan's pupils shrank. He glanced at Xin Yinzhou and didn't say anything. But in his mind, he kept thinking about how he would humiliate Xian Hongzheng and the others after the competition. How he would use this as an excuse to ruin Heavenly Hall's reputation and make this alchemy competition a laughingstock. Just as the atmosphere was so stifling that he couldn't breathe, Great Master Naimi, who was known as the Saint of Alchemy, was the first to finish refining. Although he didn't use his full strength, he still refined a 7-rune quasi-sage pill and advanced to the finals without any suspense. Not long after Great Master Naimi finished refining, Great Master Danexin, Great Master Bailuo, and Great Master Shuiwe also refined quasi-sage pills. Because they had held back their strength, the quasi-sage pills they refined were only 6-rune to 7-rune quasi-sage pills. But in less than 5 days, they had refined a high-quality quasi-sage pill. It was enough to show that the 4 of them represented the highest level of alchemy in the Central World. Seeing that Great Master Naimi and the others had finished refining their pills, Yao Yan's smile grew wider. On the other hand, Xian Hongzheng and the others were in complete despair. In their opinion, Yi Chanfeng was already powerless to reverse the situation. He had completely lost the chance to advance to the finals and turn the situation around. As the time drew to a close, Jiao Yuyin, who was second to last, finished refining her pill. She had performed exceedingly well and refined a 9-rune ancient Dao pill. Although the quality of her ancient Dao pill couldn't be compared to the celestial immortal ancient Dew pill, it surpassed the 4-tier 9 heavenly masters. In addition to Heavenly Master Qiao, who had failed in refining her pill, Jiao Yuyin had obtained at least 15th place after the competition ended. Although this meant that Jiao Yuyin had lost the qualification to advance to the finals, this result still made Jiao Yuyin feel as though she was dreaming. She was extremely excited. Keeping the 9-rune ancient Dao pill in her hand, Jiao Yuyin looked at Yi Chanfeng, who was completely focused on refining his pill through an independent space. At this moment, other than Yi Chanfeng, all the other alchemists had finished their competition. There wasn't much time left. In Yao Yan's opinion, Yi Chanfeng was struggling before his death. He had been completely defeated. He had been utterly defeated. There was no suspense about his defeat. Finally, when the fire sand in the funnel was about to run out, the vermilion bird shadow spread its wings and flew into the air with the celestial immortal ancient Dew pill in its mouth. When Yao Yan saw that Yi Chanfeng's celestial immortal ancient Dew pill only had 3 pill runes through the light wall, he mercilessly laughed out loud. His laughter was filled with ridicule. On the other hand, Xian Hongzheng and the others revealed bitter smiles. The last trace of hope in their hearts had been shattered. Mobile reading site. Book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Collect button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1178. Xianhongzheng, what else do you have to say now? A 3-mark heavenly immortal ancient dew pill? Your taste in choosing a successor is really too bad. Can that saint pill belong to me now? Yao Yin looked at the gloomy faces of Xianhongzheng and the others and freely ridiculed them. What? You look down on my 3-mark heavenly immortal ancient dew pill? I can say that my heavenly immortal ancient dew pill is many times better than your disciples. Yi Qinfeng, who had just walked out of the independent space, heard Yao Yan's ridicule and unceremoniously retorted. Fengchun, have you lost your mind? A 3-mark heavenly immortal ancient dew pill is better than a 10-mark heavenly immortal ancient dew pill? You are really stupid and ignorant. Yao Yan looked at Yi Qinfeng, who was calm and did not reveal a trace of depression, and coldly said, Fengchun, at this time, are you still not going to admit defeat? You have already lost the qualifications to enter the finals, and I have advanced to the finals. The battle between you and me has already been decided. Shouldn't you kowtow to me 3 times and take out the saint pill that you stole from me? The flame spirit saint's son looked at Yi Qinfeng mockingly, wanting to ruthlessly humiliate him. I really don't know if I'm stupid or you guys are stupid. Yi Qinfeng lightly sighed and raised his 3-mark heavenly immortal ancient dew pill high up in the air and said, Open your eyes and look carefully. The heavenly immortal ancient dew pill that I refined has already surpassed the category of ancient Tao pills. It has reached the level of quasi-saint pill. As soon as Yi Qinfeng finished speaking, everyone's eyes simultaneously looked at the 3-mark heavenly immortal ancient dew pill in Yi Qinfeng's hand. Immediately after, the already despaired Xianhongzheng and the others revealed an expression of disbelief. Even the turbid eyes of Great Master Nirvana and the others revealed a strange expression. Impossible. The celestial ancient dew pill was just an ancient path pill. It couldn't have reached the level of a quasi-divine pill. The fire spirit saint's son didn't believe Yi Qinfeng at all. He refuted loudly. Whether or not the celestial ancient dew Dan that I refined reached the level of quasi-sage Dan is not something that you can judge with your mouth. Yi Qinfeng looked at the flustered and exasperated flame spirit saint's son and revealed a trace of sarcasm. He said, Yao Yan Qianbei, I wonder if you are willing to evaluate the level of the celestial ancient dew Dan that I refined with Xianhong Master and the others. All right, I will personally appraise it and see if the 3-mark heavenly immortal ancient Tao pill you refined is as mysterious as you say it is. When Yao Yin looked at the 3-mark heavenly immortal ancient Tao pill in Yi Qinfeng's hand, he discovered that this ancient Tao pill was indeed somewhat unusual. The smile on his face gradually faded as he slowly walked over to Yi Qinfeng's side. Fengchun, this old guy is extremely shameless. Don't give him the 3-mark heavenly immortal ancient dew Dan that you refined. Otherwise, he will use underhanded means to destroy the quality of your pill. Xianhongzheng took a step forward and came to Yi Qinfeng's side. He reminded him in a low voice. Xianhongzheng at this time, things had changed. Yao Yan no longer had the arrogance and haughtiness from before. His face gradually turned cold. What? Do you think what I said is wrong? Xianhongzheng revealed a rare smile and said, If you didn't cheat by lending the Holy Sage Cauldron and the Black Devil Holy Flame to your grand disciple, with his little ability, he could also refine the 10-mark heavenly immortal ancient dew Dan. As soon as Xianhongzheng's words fell, many level 9 heavenly masters who lost the qualification for the finals all showed anger. The status of these level 9 heavenly masters was not simple. Being treated as enemies by them, the Sacred Fire Valley's future days would not be easy. Xianhongzheng, is it interesting to argue now? Let's first appraise the level of his unique pill. Yao Yan did not continue to argue with Xianhongzheng. However, the twitching of his eyes was enough to prove that he was extremely angry. He did not expect this to happen. Fengchun put the heavenly, immortal, ancient dew Dan that you refined on the lotus seat. Xianhongzheng took out a golden lotus seat of extraordinary quality. When Yi Qinfeng placed the heavenly, immortal, ancient dew Dan in the center of the lotus seat, Xianhongzheng, Yao Yin, and the others immediately released their powerful soul power into the three-mark heavenly immortal ancient Du Dan to inspect the pill's quality. Grandmaster Nirvana, Grandmaster Pillheart, and the others also immediately sent their soul power into the lotus seat to appraise the pill's grade. As the top alchemists of the central world appraised the heavenly immortal ancient Du Dan, the flame spirit Saint Heart was extremely unsettled. If Yi Qinfeng really refined a quasi-saint heavenly immortal ancient Du Dan, then even if he advanced to the finals, his chances of defeating Yi Qinfeng were not high. Once he lost, not only would he lose face, but he would also have to give away the Sacred Fire Valley's most powerful divine ability. After the competition, the Sacred Fire Valley would be the enemy of many forces, including the Sky Hall. He could not bear the consequences of such a failure. Fengshen, tell me honestly, did you cheat? With your strength, it's impossible for you to refine a quasi-saint heavenly immortal ancient Du Dan. After repeatedly appraising it, Yao Yin had to admit that Yi Qinfeng's three-mark heavenly immortal ancient Du Dan had indeed reached the quasi-saint heavenly immortal ancient Du Dan. He could not accept this result and was even more furious. He glared fiercely at Yi Qinfeng. Senior Yao Yin, don't think that you're despicable. Everyone is despicable. Cheating is something only a person with a bad character like you would do. Although Yao Yin was terrifying, Yi Qinfeng did not give him any face because he knew that if he continued to be patient, it would only make his enemy more arrogant. Fengshen, don't think that just because you have the support of the Sky Hall, you can speak to I in such a tone. If you anger me, no one will be able to protect you. Yao Yin no longer had his usual calmness and warned. Yao Yin, can't you afford to lose? If you can't afford to lose, then just say it. There's no need to threaten a junior. Xian Hongzheng said coldly as he stood beside Yi Qinfeng. It's not that I can't afford to lose, but there's a problem with the celestial ancient Du Pellet he refined. I don't believe in his results at all. Yao Yin slightly raised his eyelids and met Xian Hongzheng's sharp gaze. Flames surged as he slowly said, Then what do I have to do to make you believe me? Yi Qinfeng sneered. Unless I provide the Dan recipe and you refine the Dan in front of everyone. If you can raise the level of the Dan provided by I, then I will recognize your results. If you can't do it, then you're cheating and your results must be nullified. Yao Yin deliberately made things difficult for Yi Qinfeng. No problem. You can provide the Dan recipe. As long as there's no problem with the Dan recipe, I can raise the level of the Dan. Out of everyone's expectations, Yi Qinfeng agreed very straightforwardly. This caused Yao Yin to unconsciously furrow his brows. Yao Yin, this is just a test. The Dan recipe you provide cannot be higher than a middle-grade Dao Dan. Otherwise, you're guilty and deliberately making things difficult for great Elder Xian Hongzheng. Humph! Yao Yin coldly snorted. In front of Great Master Jimie, Great Master Dan Xin, and the others, he couldn't put down his old face to make things difficult for Yi Qinfeng. He took out a yellowed parchment scroll from his Chinquan ring and said, There's no problem with this low-grade Dao Dan. Jiaoli Dan, right? Jiaoli Dan is the most common low-grade Dao Dan. After taking it, you will have the power of a Jiao dragon for a short period of time. Good. Then let's refine this Jiaoli Dan. Yi Qinfeng very readily agreed. In order to avoid you saying I cheated, you still provide the herbs. Here. Yao Yin opened his big hand, and 16 herbs appeared in front of Yi Qinfeng. Grabbing these 16 herbs, Yi Qinfeng repeatedly checked them. After making sure there was no problem, he threw them all into the Zhuke cauldron. For Yi Qinfeng, low-grade Dao Dan was no challenge at all. Yi Qinfeng only used a stick of incense time to purify all 16 herbs. Borrowing the power of the spiritual bead of life, he began to condense Dan patterns and improve the quality of the Jiaoli Dan. In just half an hour, Yi Qinfeng condensed the Jiaoli Dan. He suddenly slapped the hot Zhuke cauldron and a dark green Jiaoli Dan flew out. Middle gray Dao Danwen, the fire spirit Saint Sun, Fire Sky Halberd, and the others felt the level of the Jiaoli Dan refined by Yi Qinfeng. It was as if they were struck by lightning. Their minds went blank, and they were all dumbfounded. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark at the bottom to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you can see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1179. Yao Yin Qianbei. What else do you have to say? Yi Chenfeng held up the Jiao Li Dan in his hand proudly, looking at the gloomy Yao Yin, and asked with a smile. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test heroes indeed come from the young. Yao Yin looked at Yi Chenfeng with eyes as sharp as knives. After a few breaths, he spat out a few words in a low voice. Haha, Fengchun, you really opened our eyes today. You don't know how arrogant Yao Yin was these few days when you were refining pills. He even deliberately used the sacred elixir to make a bet. Now that I think about it, it's really funny. Xian Zhongding would never let go of such an opportunity and would constantly open Yao Yan's scars. Sacred elixir, what a big deal. Yi Chenfeng smiled and said, it's just that his disciple and disciple's disciple are too disappointing. In fact, he didn't want to bet on the sacred elixir at first, but he wanted the ancient sacred fire of the heavenly palace. Now it seems that we really should make a bet with him. Aya, what a pity. Yi Chenfeng pretended to be surprised and said, but it's not too late now. I don't know if Qianbei still wants to bet. If you do, I'm willing to bet with you on the result of the finals between me and your disciple's disciple. Fengchun, I advise you not to take advantage of others. Yao Yan's eyes twitched as he warned coldly. Aya, what a coincidence. I like to take advantage of others. Yi Chenfeng said with an exaggerated expression. All right, Qianbei, I have a question to ask you. If I really lose, what will you do? Will you also take advantage of others? Kid, the Central Continent is not peaceful. Be careful when you go out. Yao Yin had never been so sullen before, much less suffered such humiliation. Looking at the overbearing and incomparably arrogant Yi Chenfeng, his lungs were about to explode from anger. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, he couldn't teach Yi Chenfeng a lesson. Once he did, Xian Hongzheng and the others who had been suppressing their anger for a long time would definitely retaliate with lightning speed. Thank you for your reminder. I'll be careful. Yi Chenfeng smiled and said fearlessly, I'll also give you a word of advice. People need face, trees need bark. Being shameless doesn't mean you're invincible. Interesting boy. I'll remember what you said. Yao Yin said coldly. He took back the holy sovereign cauldron that was lent to the fire spirit saint's son. He left behind the lost Saint Pellet and turned to leave the fire god shrine. He was afraid that if he didn't leave now, he would be angered to death by Yi Chenfeng. Fire Sky Halberd, Fire Spirit. The results of the competition haven't been calculated yet. You can't leave. If you leave without permission, I have the right to take away your results. Xian Hong looked at Fire Sky Halberd and the Flame Spirit Saint's son, who wanted to leave with Yao Yin. He warned them coldly. Hearing Xian Hongzheng's warning, Fire Sky Halberd and Fire Sky Halberd could only stay obediently. After all, if they insisted on leaving, it would be equivalent to breaking off relations with the Heavenly Hall, giving the Heavenly Hall an excuse to take revenge on the sacred Fire Valley. Fire Spirit, don't look like your father is dead. Your father isn't dead yet, and you didn't really lose to me. We still have one last round. Yi Chenfeng looked at the gloomy face of the Flame Spirit Saint's son, who was no longer arrogant, and teased him with a faint smile. Hearing Yi Chenfeng's teasing, Fire Sky Halberd and the Flame Spirit Saint's son were angry, but didn't dare to say anything. They could only curse Yi Chenfeng in their hearts. Okay, put your elixirs on this lotus seat. We'll appraise them one by one and rank them. Xian Hongzheng said. After Xian Hongzheng and the others' strict appraisal, the final ranking came out. Master Ji Mia, Master Dan Xian, Master Bai Luo, and Master Shui Yu, who had refined the quasi-sage elixir, were ranked in the top 4. Yi Chenfeng was ranked 5th because he had refined the celestial ancient dew elixir to the level of quasi-sage elixir. He had squeezed out Fire Sky Halberd and successfully entered the finals. The finals were set to be held 2 days later. Although the Holy Son of Fire Spirit had also entered the final round with his alchemy speed, he had lost the Holy Honorable Cauldron and the Black Demonic Holy Flame. With his alchemy skills, it was impossible for him to refine the 10 Runes Ancient Path elixir. If nothing went wrong, he would lose the competition against Yi Chenfeng. Flame Spirit Saint's son, our competition hasn't ended yet. Don't sneak away. Yi Chenfeng looked at the gloomy face of the Flame Spirit Saint's son and said deliberately, Palace Master Xian, can we leave now? Fire Sky Halberd glared at Yi Chenfeng, who kept humiliating him. He then shifted his gaze to Xian Hongzheng and the others and asked in a low voice, You can leave now. Remember, before the competition ends, no one is allowed to leave Fire God City. Xian Hongzheng nodded and instructed coldly, Let's go. Fire Sky Halberd and his son did not have the face to stay any longer and left awkwardly. Palace Master Xian, we're leaving too. Master Nirvana and the others also left. However, before they left, they looked at Yi Chenfeng with deep meaning. Obviously, Yi Chenfeng's ability to increase the grade of his elixir pills had piqued their interest. They were even more surprised by Yi Chenfeng's alchemy skills. Fengchun, it's all thanks to you today. If you had lost, our Sky Hall would have suffered a crushing defeat, and we would have been humiliated by Yao Yan. In order to thank you, I'll give you this divine elixir pill that we won and this divine elixir pill in my hand. Xian Hongzheng opened his hand and received the 2 jade boxes that were suspended in midair. He generously gave them to Yi Chenfeng. Senior, this is too precious. Yi Chenfeng knew the value of the divine elixir pill and did not accept it. Fengchun, this is what I won against Yao Yan, and it is also what you won against Yao Yan. You don't have to be polite. Moreover, it is worth it to be able to see Yao Yan suffer and leave in anger. Xian Hongzheng said with a smile, That's right. Your reversal just now was too satisfying. I think that in this lifetime, Yao Yan will not have the face to come to my Fire God City. As for this stain, he will never be able to wash it off. Great Elder Xian Hongzheng said, All right, then this junior will not be polite. Seeing that Xian Hongzheng and the others insisted on giving him the 2 divine elixir pills of immeasurable value, Yi Chenfeng did not decline and accepted the 2 divine elixir pills. Fengchun, can you tell us your master's name? We really want to know what kind of almighty being was able to nurture such a shocking talent like you. Xian Hongzheng asked curiously. I'm sorry, Palace Master Xian, but my master is a wandering crane and has long stopped caring about the matters of the world. Therefore, this junior cannot reveal my master's name. Yi Chenfeng started to fabricate. I was too abrupt. Although Yi Chenfeng did not say it clearly, the information revealed in his words shook the hearts of Xian Hongzheng and the others. They guessed that Yi Chenfeng's master's strength was probably at an unimaginable level. Only those supreme experts who had long since hidden themselves could nurture a peerless genius like Yi Chenfeng. That's right, Fengchun, you must be extremely careful when you travel in the central continent. That old fellow Yao Yan is a vengeful person. You must be careful of his revenge, Xian Hongzheng kindly reminded. Don't worry, senior. Although this junior is not his opponent, if he wants to kill me, it won't be that easy. Yi Chenfeng smiled slightly, revealing a trace of confidence. Yi Chenfeng chatted with Xian Hongzheng and the others in the Fire God Temple for a while before leaving with Jiao Yuyan. Watching Yi Chenfeng's departing figure, Xian Hongzheng and the others developed a strong interest in Yi Chenfeng, who had repeatedly created miracles. They really wanted to know if he could create another miracle and rush into the top 3 in the final round of the alchemy competition. Mobile reading website, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click on the save button below to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1180. Fengchun, you gave us another surprise today. To be honest, we thought you were going to lose, but we didn't expect you to have a trump card and reverse the situation. Wantian Marquis and the others, who had been waiting outside the Fire God Shrine, saw Yi Chenfeng and Jiao Yan finally walk out of the Fire God Shrine. Regardless of whether it was Yi Chenfeng or Jiao Yuyan, their results today had far exceeded the expectations of Wantian Marquis and the others. Especially Yi Chenfeng's method of turning the situation around was something they had never heard of before, causing them to be extremely shocked. They could imagine how prosperous Wantian Pavilion would be in the future with Yi Chunfeng and Jiao Yuyin in charge. Wantian capital would also benefit from this and develop rapidly. Let's go back and talk, Marquis. Yi Chunfeng looked at the excited Wantian Marquis and the others and smiled. He didn't stay in the Fire God Shrine for long. Under the gazes of many people, he walked toward the ancient courtyard where the Tao addict was blocking. Look, it's Feng Chun, he's so handsome. Yes, especially his eyes, they're really charming. Yi Chunfeng's performance in the past few days was too amazing, so more people recognized him. Especially his method of reversing the situation today. Many people were convinced by him. On the way to the ancient courtyard, Yi Chunfeng and his group attracted a lot of attention, especially some women, who were even more fond of Yi Chunfeng. They hid on the side and whispered. As they walked, a petite girl wearing a jade-green silk dress suddenly walked out from the crowd. Her round face had two seductive blushes, and there was a hint of shyness in her dark eyes. She came to Yi Chunfeng's side and said, Feng Chun, I want to be friends with you. Is that okay? Hearing the shy voice of the woman in green dress, many pedestrians on the street looked at them with smiling eyes. Even Wang Tian Marquis showed a smile. Making friends looking at the cute and charming woman in front of him, Yi Chunfeng showed a trace of vigilance, because he remembered that the Phantom's assassins were all women, so he had to be careful. Suddenly, a sharp sword gleam flew out from the crowd and slashed toward Yi Chunfeng at a speed exceeding several hundred light speed. Even though the might of this sudden sword light was shocking, Yi Chunfeng's reaction was even swifter. His right hand slapped out like a bolt of lightning, causing numerous grand Tao insights to swiftly condense into a fist light that was like a meteor, and it dragged out a dazzling shadow of the Tao as it shattered the sword light that assaulted him with a single punch. However, the instant Yi Chunfeng shattered the sword light, killing intent burst out from the eyes of the cute girl wearing a jade-green dress. 3 black pearls filled with destructive energy appeared in her hand and shot towards Yi Chunfeng at an extremely fast speed, as well as Jiao Yuyin beside him. Flash-A world-shaking power erupted from Yi Chunfeng's body and pushed Jiao Yuyin away like a stormy sea, using his own body to block the 3 black destruction beads. Boom! 3 loud explosions rang out, and the wanton destructive energy instantly engulfed Yi Chunfeng, crazily destroying his body. More than half of the street was destroyed by these 3 terrifying explosions. Even the buildings that were enveloped in restrictions were affected, and they were covered with spiderweb-like cracks. Wind and dust Jiao Yuyin, who was firmly protected behind the Wangtian Marquis, saw Yi Chunfeng being engulfed by the destructive energy, and her entire heart shattered. She cried out in pain, afraid that something would happen to him. Open for me. The Tao addict, who had rushed over, roared and released her Tao insights, directly tearing apart the destructive energy that was getting more and more intense. She then rescued the heavily injured Yi Chunfeng from the destructive energy. The Black Lightning Monarch, who had captured the furious Tao addict alive, shouted loudly, "Leave it to me." The Black Lightning Monarch's body flashed, and he strangely disappeared from where he was. As he rapidly flew, his blurred body split into several afterimages, grabbing at the phantom assassins who had successfully launched a sneak attack and wanted to escape. In the blink of an eye, the phantom assassins who had escaped tens of thousands of meters away were caught by the Black Lightning Monarch and his split afterimages. But in the next moment, the 2 phantom assassins suddenly exploded their bodies, not giving the Black Lightning Monarch a chance to capture them alive. Fengchen, how are you? Looking at Yi Chunfeng, who was covered in blood and seriously injured, Jiao Yuyin's eyes suddenly turned red, and she asked with pity, "Don't worry, I'm fine." Yi Chunfeng, who was covered in blood, quickly swallowed a Tao pill, slowly sat up, shook his head, and said weakly, although Yi Chunfeng relied on his high-grade Tao artifact body to resist the fatal triple attack of the 3 black pearls of destruction, the frightening scene just now still left him with lingering fear. If the 3 black pearls of destruction were a little stronger, he was afraid that his body would not be able to withstand it and would be blown to pieces in an instant. Absolute Sword escort them back. I'm going to settle the score with Yao Yan. Under her protection, Yi Chunfeng was still injured by the phantom assassins. This made the Tao addict feel ashamed, and she said angrily, "Settle the score with me? Do you think I did this?" A cold voice suddenly sounded, and Yao Yin, who was wearing a black alchemist robe with a gloomy face, suddenly appeared. He looked coldly at the Tao addict and said in a low voice, "Yao Yin, don't be hypocritical. I feel that the person behind the assassination of Fengchun is you." The Tao addict glared at Yao Yin, and a murderous aura in her body became stronger and stronger. She could not help but want to attack. The Tao addict sneered and said, "Tao addict, don't you think your words are childish? I admit that I want to kill him, but in the Fire God City, do you think I will take this risk? And if I really want to kill him, I need the help of an assassin organization. I think in the entire Central world, there are more people who are willing to work for me than the four of you. Yao Yin, I am a stubborn person. Now I think you are not a good person, and I want to teach you a lesson," the Tao addict said overbearingly. "Tao addict, do you really think I am afraid of you?" Yao Yan's deep eyes flickered with two small flames, and he said without showing weakness, "The two people who stood at the top of the Central world were about to fight on the chaotic street. Tao addict, maybe he is not the real murderer. Let's not be used by others." Just as the two were about to draw their swords, the Absolute Sword suddenly stood in front of the Tao addict and said in a low voice, "Tao addict, learn more from the Absolute Sword. Sometimes, the brain is more useful than the feelings." Yao Yin looked coldly at the angry Yao Yin, and then glanced at Yi Chunfeng, who was seriously injured and sitting cross-legged to heal himself. Then, he turned and left. "Absolute Sword, if you were willing to help me just now, with the strength of the four of us, we could have killed that old man." The Tao addict looked at the Absolute Sword in front of her and said indignantly, "Tao addict, you should calm down. There are many suspicious points about the assassination of Fengchun. Even if the four of us join forces, we may not be able to kill him. More importantly, Yao Yan's appeal is indeed greater than ours. It is not wise to fight with him until one of us dies without sufficient evidence." Although the Absolute Sword was more powerful than Yao Yan, he was not sure that he could kill him. More importantly, the Absolute Sword also had some misgivings about Yao Yan's appeal and did not want to be used by others, so he kept persuading the Tao addict. "Senior Tao addict, Senior Absolute Sword is right. Now is not the time for revenge. But no matter who that person is, I will definitely find him out from behind the scenes and kill him with my own hands." With the help of the Taoist elixir and the spiritual pearl of life, Yi Chunfeng stabilized his injuries and stood up slowly. His voice revealed an incomparably strong belief. "Well, let's go back and talk about it." Under the persuasion of Yi Chunfeng and the Absolute Sword, the Tao addict gradually calmed down and led Yi Chunfeng and others back to the ancient courtyard. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Collect button below to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1181. What? When Feng Chun returned, he was assassinated by Phantom's assassins. His injuries are serious. Qian Hongzheng was furious when he heard the news. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement test. He did not expect the Phantom's assassins to be so arrogant. They openly challenged the Sky Hall's authority and assassinated Yi Chunfeng, who had helped them before. "Pass down my orders. Lock down Fire God City and strengthen our defenses. Then, open a bounty for the location of Phantom's headquarters and declare war on Phantom." Qian Hongzheng displayed the true colors of an ambitious and ruthless person as he passed down an important order. "Yes, Hall Master." Great Guardian Qian Zhangxin obeyed and immediately went to pass down Qian Hongzheng's order. Under the Sky Hall's terrifying rallying power, the revenge against Phantom was officially launched. After returning to the ancient courtyard, Yi Chunfeng, who was heavily injured, immediately went into seclusion in his room. He used the spiritual pearl of life to recover his injuries. If he couldn't fully recover in the remaining time, it would definitely affect his results in the finals. Fortunately, the spiritual pearl of life was heaven-defying. He also had many healing treasures on him. In less than a day, Yi Chenfeng's injuries were healed. He began to adjust his condition in his room. Very quickly, 2 days had passed, and the main event of the alchemy competition was about to begin. The Fire God City, which was in a state of panic, became lively again. Feng Chun, how are your injuries? Jiao Yuyin and the others, who had been waiting anxiously for 2 days, saw Yi Chunfeng walking out of his room in good spirits. They quickly went up and asked with concern, "Don't worry, I've already recovered. Let's go to the Fire God Shrine." Yi Chunfeng smiled and said softly. After knowing that Yi Chunfeng's injuries had already recovered, Jiao Yuyin's heart finally settled down. She revealed a charming smile and accompanied Yi Chunfeng to the Fire God Shrine. Because of the repeated assassination attempts, the Tao Addict and the 4 Absolute Swords personally accompanied them. They were afraid that an accident would happen again. At this time, the Fire God City had entered the highest state of alert. A large number of experts were dispatched to protect the Fire God Shrine. Yi Chenfeng was their main target of protection. Along the way to the Fire God Shrine, a large number of experts secretly followed them, causing Yi Chenfeng's aura to be full, which attracted a lot of attention. "Boy, do your best and try to enter the top 5. The Tao Addict patted Yi Chenfeng on the shoulder and said with a smile, "Don't worry, senior. This junior will definitely enter the top 3. The corners of Yi Chenfeng's mouth rose slightly as a confident smile appeared on his face. Under Jiao Yuyan's cheers, he calmly walked into the Fire God Temple. Top 3. Hearing Yi Chenfeng's confident voice, the eyes of the Tao Addict and the others suddenly lit up. If Yi Chenfeng really had the strength to enter the top 3, he would be of great help to them. More importantly, the top 3 positions in the Heavenly Palace's refinement technique competition were extremely valuable. If Yi Chenfeng could really make into the top 3, it would be enough to cause people to fear him. There would be even more experts who would pledge their allegiance to him, and he would be able to call the wind and summon the rain. "Fengchen, are you all right?" When Yi Chenfeng passed through the restriction of the palace door and walked into the Fire God Temple, Xian Hongzheng, who had been waiting in the Fire God Temple for a long time, immediately stood up from the armchair and asked with concern. At this time, other than Xian Hongzheng and the other Heavenly Palace's big shots, there were more than 10 people in the Fire God Temple. Although Yi Chenfeng only knew Tu Wang Tian and Di Mingwei, judging from the auras of the other people, their identities were definitely not weaker than Tu Wang Tian. They were all big shots in the Central World. "Thank you for your concern, Palace Master Xian. This junior has already recovered and will not affect today's competition." Yi Chenfeng smiled and said softly, "That's good." Xian Hongzheng was relieved and said, "If your results were affected because of the assassination, us old fellows will really be unable to feel at ease. However, the people of Phantom dared to openly provoke my Heavenly Palace and assassinate you in the Fire God City. It's too hateful. My Heavenly Palace has officially declared war on Phantom and attacked them." "Thank you, Palace Master Xian." Yi Chenfeng's heart warmed as he said gratefully, "Feng Chun, I am the torrential Devil King of the Octave Divine Kingdom. If you have time, come to my Octave Imperial City as a guest. At that time, I will let Princess Hanyan accompany you for a good stroll." After seeing Yi Chenfeng's astonishing alchemy talent and heaven-defying methods, the torrential Devil King of the Octave Divine Kingdom put down his pride and slowly walked over. He had the intention of using Shui Hanyan as bait to rope him in. "If I have time, I will definitely go to Octave Imperial City." Yi Chenfeng smiled and said in a neither arrogant nor servile manner, "Feng Chun, some time ago, my Kirin Kingdom might have had a little unpleasant encounter with you. But don't worry, today's incident will not happen again." At this time, the Qiansan King of the Kirin Kingdom, who was wearing a dark golden robe embroidered with a flood dragon, walked over and also put down his pride to exchange greetings with Yi Chenfeng. Looking at the torrential Devil King, the Qiansan King favored Yi Chenfeng and wanted to rope him in. Tu Wang, who had bullied Yi Chenfeng before, had an extremely ugly expression on his face. He was furious in his heart, but he really couldn't put down his old face to apologize, so he could only close his eyes and turn a deaf ear. Not only did the two divine kingdoms have a strong interest in Yi Chen-feng, but the Hidden Forces, Vast Heaven Palace, and Sword Sex elders were also interested in Yi Chen-feng and stepped forward to chat. For a time, Yi Chen-feng became the most popular person in the Fire God Temple, the only focus of attention. The Fire Spirit Saint, who had arrived early and was standing in a remote corner, was even more aggrieved. Even in his dreams, he had never thought that he would fall into such a situation. Thinking of the consequences of losing to Yi Chen-feng, he had the urge to vomit blood. Making him kneel and apologize to Yi Chen-feng in front of everyone was worse than killing him. Okay, the time has come. Everyone, please return to the spectator seats. Xian Hongzheng saw that the 10 top alchemists who had entered the finals had all arrived, so he immediately asked the people around Yi Chen-feng to return to the spectator seats. He slowly said, "Today's finals have the same rules as before. Whoever can refine the highest level pill and the best quality pill will be the final winner. And during the fair period, the pill recipes and herbs will still be provided by my Sky Hall." After saying that, Xian Hongzheng took out 50 jade strips. Among these 50 jade strips, only 10 were ancient path pill recipes. The remaining 40 jade strips were all quasi-sage pill recipes. Taking out 40 quasi-sage pill recipes at once was enough to show how terrifying the Sky Hall's foundation was. Without hundreds of thousands or even millions of years of inheritance, the Sky Hall would never be able to take out so many quasi-sage pill recipes. Great Void Quasi-Sage Pill, one of the quasi-sage pills. It can increase the strength of a Nirvana Heavenly Realm expert and cleanse the Great Tao without any side effects. Refining the pill requires 240 kinds of heaven and earth spirit herbs. Yi Chen-feng released his soul and quickly browsed through the 50 jade strips. After thinking for a while, he did not choose the highest level quasi-sage pill. Instead, he chose the second level Great Void Quasi-Sage Pill. Although the Great Void Quasi-Sage Pill's quality was not as good as the Royal Quasi-Sage Pill, it was above the other Quasi-Sage Pills and was extremely difficult to refine. Seeing his choice, not only were Xian Hongzheng and the others shocked, but even Tu Tianwang and the others, who were watching the battle, were in disbelief. If Yi Chen-feng could really refine the Great Void Quasi-Sage Pill, with his age and potential, it was enough for the 3 divine kingdoms to put down their pride and try to rope him in. This Feng Chen's alchemy skills are really so high. He's reached the highest level in the central world. Various unbelievable thoughts appeared in everyone's minds. On the other hand, the despairing flame spirit Saint Sun was pleasantly surprised. In his opinion, Yi Chen-feng's choice was undoubtedly suicidal. As long as Yi Chen-feng failed and he succeeded, he would still be the final victor. Thus, he chose the ancient path pill with the lowest difficulty. Besides Yi Chen-feng, who chose the Great Void Quasi-Sage Pill, Master Danexen, Master Bai Luo, and the others also chose the Great Void Quasi-Sage Pill. Master Nirvana, who had the highest chance of winning, chose the Royal Quasi-Sage Pill with the highest difficulty. The Royal Quasi-Sage Pill was one of the most powerful body-tempering pills in the central world. It was also the only Quasi-Sage Pill that could attract a pill tribulation. Alright, since everyone has already chosen a pill formula, then everyone please enter the mustard seed space and prepare to refine the pills. The finals will last for 10 days. I hope everyone can perform above their usual standards and refine high-quality pills. Xian Hongzheng loudly announced. After saying that, Yi Chen-feng and the others flew into the various spatial rifts that had opened up one after another. The finals were about to begin. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1182. After several rounds of the alchemy competition, Yi Chen-feng's alchemy skills had greatly improved, and he was even more familiar with the world's spirit grasses. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement test in just over 6 hours. he had fully comprehended the medicinal properties of 240 spirit grasses of heaven and earth. He summoned the vermilion bird cauldron and sprayed the sky-burning holy fire into it to ignite it. According to the order, he threw the extremely valuable spirit grasses of heaven and earth into the vermilion bird cauldron to be purified. Home Master Xian, do you think this Feng Chun can refine the Taishu quasi-sage pill? The tall and straight demon wave king was wearing a black robe with golden edges. His eyes sparkled like stars. Through the light barrier, he looked at Yi Chen-feng, who was concentrating on refining pills, and sent a voice transmission to him. What? Does Demon Wave King want to win over Feng Chun? Xian Hongzheng took a sip of green spirit tea and put down the teacup. I do have plans to win him over, but I don't know if Home Master Xian is willing to be the middleman. After the matter is done, my 8-head divine country will definitely give you a generous gift. Demon Wave King didn't hide his purpose and said, Demon Wave King, I'm afraid I can't help you with this. After all, after the competition, I think there will be many powers interested in him. And this little guy's background is not simple. So whether you can win him over to your 8-head divine country will depend on your ability. Xian Hongzheng replied. Demon Wave King frowned and said, Home Master Xian, I wonder if you can tell me more about Feng Chen's background? All right, since we're so close, I'll tell you a little bit. This Feng Chun has a master who has been in seclusion for a long time, and his master is very likely someone from the previous era. Xian Hong told me this through sound transmission. Demon Wave King from the previous era sucked in a breath of cold air and said in surprise, His master has lived for more than 100,000 years? This is just my guess, but to be able to cultivate such a peerless genius, his master's ability is probably beyond our imagination. Xian Hongzheng said, Home Master Xian, what do you think this Feng Chen will get in the end? Demon Wave King pondered and asked. At first, I predicted that his ranking would be around the 10th place, but now it seems that he is far better than I thought. I think he has a chance to break into the top 3. Thinking of Yi Chunfeng's method of increasing the grade of medicinal pills, Xian Hongzheng had a bold guess about his final result. The first 3 torrential demon kings sucked in a deep breath and fell in a deep thought, thinking of how to win over Yi Chen-feng. He could imagine that if Yi Chen-feng was as outstanding as Xian Hongzheng had guessed, then after the competition, the 3 divine nations and the reclusive powers would all throw him an olive branch. After all, at his age, there was still a lot of potential to be unearthed. His future development would be even more limitless. Maybe he really could become the chief pill saint of the Central World. Maybe a honey trap would work. Thinking about the ambiguous relationship between Shui Hanyin and Yi Chen-feng, the corners of monstrous Demon King's mouth curled up. During the competition, it was not only Demon Wave King who asked Xian Hongzheng about Yi Chen-feng. The 9 Heavens Divine Kingdom and Kirin Kingdom's people were also constantly sending messages to Xian Hongzheng, wanting to know about Yi Chen-feng in advance. Knowing that Yi Chen-feng had an immeasurably powerful master, as well as his possible ranking, the 2 divine nations people were also racking their brains, thinking of ways to win him over. Very quickly, 2 days passed. Under the heaven-burning holy flame and the vermilion bird cauldron's refinement, 240 herbs were purified by Yi Chen-feng, turning into a large amount of pure and flawless spiritual liquid that floated in the vermilion bird cauldron. Just the first step of purification took me 2 days. This great void, quasi-holy pill is truly ridiculously difficult to refine. After purifying all the herbs, Yi Chen-feng immediately swallowed 2 drops of soul-returning liquid to recover his soul force. Then, he continued to spray a large amount of heaven-burning holy flame into the vermilion bird cauldron, increasing the power of the flame and starting to fuse the spiritual liquid into the pill. However, the difficulty of refining a quasi-holy pill was far greater than refining an ancient Tao holy pill. Moreover, refining quasi-holy pill runes was even more complicated. With Yi Chen-feng's superb alchemy skills and soul realm as a 3-star Tao saint, he would need more than an hour to refine a single quasi-holy pill rune. This was also why the competition lasted for 10 days. There was a change. The spirit bead of life could transform a quasi-holy pill's quality. When Yi Chunfeng borrowed the spiritual pearl of life to fuse the quasi-sage elixir markings into the embryonic form of the elixir, he realized that as the quasi-sage elixir markings fused into the embryonic form of the embryonic form of the elixir started to change subtly. And this discovery made his hanging heart fall to the ground. The spirit bead of life was truly worthy of being a sacred treasure. It could actually transform a quasi-holy pill into a holy pill. As long as I can refine a holy pill, I will have a great chance of defeating Grandmaster Nirvana and becoming the final champion. Buzz, buzz. After around 4 days, the cauldron floating in front of the flame spirit saint suddenly burst into flames. A thick medicinal fragrance spread out from the cauldron. A deep blue, ancient Tao holy pill with 9 runes on it rolled violently in the flames. Bang! The flame spirit saint slapped the hot cauldron, and a 9-rune ancient Tao holy pill shot out from the cauldron. Although the fire spirit saint was the first to complete the competition and had performed exceptionally well in concocting the 9-rune ancient path pill, very few people paid attention to him, because he was the only one among the 10 who chose the ancient path pill. In addition, many people had heard of his hostile relationship with Yi Chunfeng. Feng Chun, I don't believe that you can be so heaven-defying as to refine the great void quasi-holy pill. When you fail, I will return the humiliation you brought me tenfold. Holding the hot 9-rune ancient Tao holy pill in his hand, the flame spirit saint kept cursing Yi Chunfeng in his heart, praying that he would fail. If Yi Chunfeng wasn't there, he believed that he would be the biggest dark horse in this Sky Hall competition. He would be the target of everyone's admiration. However, Yi Chunfeng had ruined all of this. Therefore, he hated Yi Chunfeng. If given the chance, he would definitely deal a fatal blow to Yi Chunfeng. After another 4 days, Master Bai Luo, who was wearing a dark brown robe and was slightly thin, was the second to finish refining the 9-rune Great Void Quasi-Holy Pill. Although he didn't refine the Great Void Quasi-Holy Pill into a perfect 10-rune Ancient Tao Holy Pill, his result was amazing enough. Everyone in the Kirin Kingdom was extremely excited. The viewing pavilion that the Kirin Kingdom had booked was filled with excited shouts. Not long after Master Bai Luo finished, Master Dan Xian, who was on par with him, also finished refining. Because the Great Void Quasi-Holy Pill was extremely difficult to refine, even with Master Dan Xian's ability, he couldn't refine the 10-rune Ancient Tao Holy Pill. In the end, just like Master Bai Luo, he refined a 9-rune Great Void Quasi-Holy Pill and ended his competition. Master Dan Xian wasn't satisfied with this result because this result wasn't enough for him to enter the top 3. If Yi Chunfeng created another miracle and performed above his usual standards, he would be squeezed out of the top 3 by Yi Chunfeng. Only the heavens knew if Yi Chunfeng could create another miracle. Mobile reading website. Book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1183. As time passed, many sacred masters finished refining their pills. However, because the quality of the quasi-sage pills they chose was far from the Great Void quasi-sage pill, no one was able to shake Master Bai Luo and Master Dan Xian's rankings. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement test, however, the 2 people who were most likely to mess up the rankings still hadn't finished refining their pills. Therefore, the top 3 of this alchemy competition had yet to be decided. Rumble, when the 9th day arrived, the silent void suddenly resounded with the sound of thunder. Dark clouds suddenly appeared in the bright sky without any warning. It covered the sun, causing the entire fire god city to turn from day to night. It was exceptionally gloomy. Within the dark clouds, thunder rumbled and lightning bolts danced. The terrifying aura was extremely terrifying. Pill Tribulation. Master Nirvana's Huang Quasi-Sage pill actually attracted a pill tribulation. Could it be that Master Nirvana's Huang Quasi-Sage pill had surpassed the Quasi-Sage pill level? Looking at the dark clouds and the lightning bolts in the dark clouds, many people's bodies froze. They revealed a look of disbelief. Some people even trembled at the sight of the pill tribulation in the sky. They even had the thought of worshipping it. Restrictions open. When the pill tribulation appeared, Xian Hongzheng didn't hesitate. He immediately opened up multiple layers of spatial restrictions so that Master Nirvana's Huang Quasi-Sage pill could better withstand the pill tribulation. Once the Huang Quasi-Sage pill could withstand the pill tribulation, its quality would very likely surpass the Quasi-Sage pill and reach the Saint pill level. Master Nirvana truly lived up to his name. It seemed that other than a few old monsters in seclusion, no one else in the central world could defeat Nirvana in alchemy. Looking at the pill tribulation in the sky, Master Bai Luo and Master Dan Xian sighed softly. They were completely convinced by Master Nirvana's alchemy skills. Yi Feng, who was focused on refining pills, only glanced at the dark tribulation clouds. He got rid of all distracting thoughts and continued to refine pills. The spatial restrictions opened up and a thick medicinal fragrance filled the air. Just smelling the fragrance of the Huang Quasi-Sage pill was enough to shake one's mind. It was enough to show how shocking Master Nirvana's Huang Quasi-Sage pill was. Sensing the appearance of the pill tribulation, the Huangji Quasi-Sage pill that was rolling violently in the blue flames seemed to have a life of its own. It sensed the danger and fell into a state of restlessness. It kept attacking the medicinal cauldron, and the sound of metal hitting metal could be heard. The royal Quasi-Saint pellet was out of control, but the experienced Great Master Ji Mie didn't panic. His old hands were like flowing water. They weaved a lot of mysterious patterns into the cauldron. He increased the power of the flames in the cauldron and suppressed the royal Quasi-Saint pellet. Rumble, a deafening clap of thunder rang out from the thick tribulation clouds. Then, a silver bolt of lightning as thick as a water bucket tore through the clouds like a silver dragon. It carried the power to destroy everything as it bombarded the medicinal cauldron in front of Master Jimia. It wanted to break open the medicinal cauldron and destroy the Huangji Quasi-Saint pill that exceeded the limits of the Duhan continent. The pill tribulation attracted by the Huangji Quasi-Saint pellet was very powerful. However, as a Nirvana expert, Great Master Jimia was also very powerful. He was multitasking. The Fire Dao diagram and the Yin-Yang Dao diagram appeared on his body. They overlapped on the medicinal cauldron and forcefully weakened the power of the pill tribulation. When the silver dragon-like pill lightning pierced through the two Dao diagrams and bombarded the medicinal cauldron, Great Master Jimia made his move again. He summoned a treasure to weaken the pill lightning. Large amounts of lightning snakes extended on the surface of the medicinal cauldron. They passed through the cracks on the lid and attacked the Huangji Quasi-Saint pellet that was about to be formed. The power of the pill lightning was forcefully weakened by Great Master Jimia. It wasn't enough to destroy the Huangji Quasi-Saint pellet. Using the remaining power of the pill lightning, the Huangji Quasi-Saint pellet started to transform. All of its medicinal properties and Dao intent were stimulated. Great! This Great Master Jimia was indeed the top alchemist in the Central world. He was able to split his attention to resist the pill lightning while refining the Huangji Quasi-Saint pellet. Witnessing the scene before them with their own eyes, everyone present revealed shocked expressions. Even the two Heavenly Palace's grand elders who were in seclusion within the Fire God realm opened their eyes at this moment. Through the Fire God realm, they looked at Great Master Nirvana, who was currently weakening the pill lightning and refining the pill. The pill lightning seemed to be enraged by Great Master Jimia's resistance. It roared furiously in the tribulation clouds. Streaks of lightning flashed and broke through the turbulent tribulation clouds. They bombarded Great Master Jimia, wanting to destroy him and the Huangji Quasi-Saint pellet. Great Master Jimia didn't panic in the face of danger. He deduced the two Tao diagrams to the extreme and merged with each other. They turned into a huge Tao intent millstone that continuously destroyed the pill lightning. He used the remaining power of the pill lightning to transform the Huangji quasi-saint pellet. Home Master, do you think Great Master Jimia can resist the pill lightning and refine the Huangji quasi-saint pellet into a saint pellet? Great Elder Xian Zhongting stared at Great Master Jimia, who was constantly receiving the pill lightning's attacks. He asked Xian Hongzheng, who had a deep gaze that seemed to contain the sun and moon. Great Master Jimia's refining skills are on par with mine. Furthermore, he didn't panic when he was attacked by the pill lightning. It's obvious that he still has a lot of energy left. Furthermore, he has many heaven-defying treasures. If nothing goes wrong, he should be able to resist the pill lightning and refine the Huangji quasi-saint pellet in the end. Xian Hongzheng took a deep breath. When he was watching Great Master Jimia resist the pill lightning, he was still paying attention to Yi Chenfeng. He was afraid that Yi Chenfeng would be distracted and cause the refinement to fail. However, he saw that Yi Chenfeng was as calm as usual. It was as if the collapse of heaven and earth wouldn't affect him. He let out a sigh of relief. Time passed by. When Great Master Jimia relied on his powerful strength and foundation to resist the pill lightning's baptism for more than 2 hours, the terrifying pill lightning was about to end. At this moment, the thick tribulation cloud swirled. In the center of the tribulation clouds, a tornado-like silver pill lightning shot out from the center of the tribulation clouds. It twisted the void and swallowed Great Master Jimia along with the burning cauldron. Heavenly King Tu and Di Mingyue's hearts clenched at this moment. Success or failure depended on this. Whether Great Master Jimia could resist the pill lightning's final attack or not would determine whether he could refine the pill and win in the end. Just as everyone's gaze was attracted by the silver lightning whirlpool, the millstone that was fused with the Tao of fire and the Tao of yin and yang appeared in everyone's sight. It continuously crushed the lightning whirlpool and neutralized its destructive power. The Huangji quasi-saint pellet in the cauldron also underwent a qualitative change under the refinement of the pill lightning's power. Pill formation, feeling that the 10 quasi-saint pellet patterns in the Huangji quasi-saint pellet had turned into a saint pellet pattern, the Tao diagram's power was unleashed to the extreme. Great Master Jimia, who was under immense pressure, formed multiple complicated hand seals and formed the pill in one go. He successfully refined a saint pellet grade Huangji saint pellet. The instant the pill was formed, the tribulation clouds that covered the void and the terrifying pill lightning immediately disappeared. The chaotic void returned to normal. Mobile reading website, book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click Save at the bottom to record this reading record. You can see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1184. Success. Master Great Destruction had passed the pill tribulation and refined the Huangji quasi-sage pellet. There was no doubt who would get first place in this alchemy competition. Heavenly King Tu and Di Mingyue smiled when they saw Grandmaster Great Destruction successfully concoct the Huangji quasi-sage pellet. Although Yi Chenfeng hadn't finished concocting the Huangji quasi-sage pellet, in their opinion, no matter how heaven-defying Yi Chenfeng was, it was impossible for him to concoct a Huangji quasi-sage pellet to defeat Grandmaster Great Destruction. The first place of the competition was already in the bag of the 9 Heavens Divine Nation. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement test. There was still half a day left. How many lines of Taishu quasi-sage pellet could Feng Chen refine? Xian Hongzheng and the others didn't think that Yi Chenfeng could create another miracle and defeat Master Great Destruction. With Yi Chenfeng's age, being able to refine Taishu quasi-sage pellet was enough to make history. Fail, he had to fail. The flame spirit Saint's son kept cursing in his heart. However, looking at Yi Chenfeng's calm appearance and smooth refinement technique, his heart grew colder and colder. He regretted going against Yi Chenfeng and making a bet with Yi Chenfeng. If it wasn't for that bet, he wouldn't have been pushed to the edge of the cliff. There wasn't much time left. That little fellow had to hurry up. Otherwise, when the time was up, he would still fail. Seeing that there wasn't much fire sand left in the funnel, Xian Hongzheng was still worried. He was afraid that Feng Chun wouldn't be able to refine the Taishu quasi-sage pellet in the limited time. Just as everyone's gaze was focused on Yi Chen-feng, the sky that had just cleared up was once again shrouded by a huge shadow. The rolling dark clouds were like a magnificent army with thousands of men and horses, surging over and gathering into a thick dark cloud above the fire god shrine. An extremely oppressive energy was emitted from the dark cloud, causing the residents of the fire god city to feel as if they were unable to breathe. Why? Why did tribulation clouds appear again? Could it be that Feng Chen's Taishu quasi-sage pellet had exceeded the limit of the central world and attracted a pill tribulation? Looking at the tribulation cloud that suddenly appeared in the sky and hearing the low rumbling of thunder from the tribulation cloud, everyone present was stunned. A kind of shock and excitement appeared on their faces and eventually covered their entire faces. Heavens, what kind of monster was Feng Chun? How could he refine Taishu quasi-sage pellet to the level of a sage pellet? How'd he do it? Devil Wave King, Heavenly King too, and the others were all stunned. They couldn't believe what was happening. Even Xian Hongzheng, Great Master Nirvana, and the others, who had remained calm in the midst of chaos, were stunned by the sudden appearance of the pill lightning. Their eyes widened as they looked at the tribulation clouds. Xian Hongzheng felt that he had already overestimated Yi Chen-feng. However, every single time, Yi Chen-feng's performance far surpassed his expectations. He was completely convinced by Yi Chen-feng's talent. However, in the next moment, Xian Hongzheng's expression changed. He thought of how terrifying the pill tribulation was. With Yi Chen-feng's strength as a level 4 beast emperor, he wouldn't be able to withstand it. Once he was injured by the Great Void quasi-sage pill lightning, it was very likely that his efforts would be in vain and he would fail to refine the pill. Xian Hong was thinking about this, and so were many others. Two Heavenly King and Di Mingwei were secretly delighted. Since they had become enemies with Yi Chen-feng, they didn't want to see Yi Chen-feng in the limelight. God is helping me. God is really helping me. The fire spirit Saint's son saw the sudden appearance of the pill retribution and fell into ecstasy. Feng Chun, you really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Even Master Nirvana had a hard time resisting the pill retribution. You dare to attract the pill retribution? You really don't know how to write the word death. I hope this pill retribution doesn't kill you. Amidst the chaos, some were cursing, some were praying, some were looking forward to it, and some were gloating. Yi Chen-feng was surprisingly calm. His arrogant face didn't change at all. Yi Chen-feng could still clearly see the process of Great Master Nirvana resisting the pill tribulation. Although the pill tribulation was extremely powerful, Yi Chen-feng believed that with his powerful physical body, he would still have a chance to resist it. Moreover, Yi Chen-feng still had the Chaos Divine Wood that had completed its transformation. A mere pill tribulation was no threat to him. Hall Master, Feng Chen's pill tribulation is about to descend. Should we increase the restriction of the Fire God Shrine to help him resist the pill tribulation? Great Elder Xian Zhongting asked worriedly. This Xian Hongzheng hesitated. Although he wanted to help Yi Chen-feng resist the pill tribulation, it would be breaking the rules of the competition. The Heavenly Palace would be humiliated and lose its reputation. Hall Master Xian, you're not thinking of cheating, are you? Heavenly King Tu looked at the hesitant Xian Hongzheng and purposely said, Restriction open. Xian Hongzheng looked at Yi Chen-feng deeply and found that not only was there no panic on his face, but there was also a trace of anticipation. He gritted his teeth and opened the Fire God Shrine and the spatial restriction. Rumble. The double restriction disappeared, and the thick tribulation clouds immediately resounded with the sound of thunder. Silver lightning snakes as thick as buckets suddenly appeared and swam in the thick tribulation clouds, releasing endless destructive power. Finally, as the clouds grew thicker and thicker, A loud rumble came from the clouds that covered the sky. A silver dragon-like bolt of pill lightning descended from the sky, striking towards Yi Chunfeng and the quasi-sage Taishu pill in the vermilion bird cauldron. At this moment, the entire world trembled slightly, as if space was being torn apart. Divine Devil Bloodline Ignite. Facing the terrifying pill lightning, Yi Chunfeng didn't dare to be careless. Without hesitation, he ignited his bloodline and transformed into a steel-like divine devil body. He forcefully raised his physical defense to the level of a top-grade Dao artifact. In the next moment, the Sword Dao diagram, the Five Elements Dao diagram, and the Life and Death Dao diagram appeared on his body, crisscrossing above his head to resist the silver, dragon-like pill lightning. What? 3 Dao diagrams? With his age and strength, not only did he cultivate to the highest level of alchemy in the Central World, but he also condensed 3 Dao diagrams. How did this brat cultivate? Was he the reincarnation of an almighty? How could he be so monstrous? Seeing Yi Chunfeng condense the 3 Dao diagrams to resist the pill lightning, everyone's hearts trembled again. Their eyes widened as if they had seen a ghost. Boom! Boom! When the silver dragon-like pill lightning bombarded the 3 Dao diagrams, it wildly destroyed them. The terrifying destructive power forcibly penetrated the 3 Dao diagrams and bombarded Yi Chunfeng and the Great Void Quasi-Sage pill in the vermilion bird cauldron. Facing the direct attack of the pill lightning, the God-Eater brain quickly deduced and calculated the power of the pill lightning. Yi Chunfeng relied on his physical body, which was comparable to a top-grade Dao artifact, to withstand the remaining power of the pill lightning. He guided part of the pill lightning into the vermilion bird cauldron to refine the Great Void Quasi-Sage pill. Under the refinement of the pill lightning, the Great Void Quasi-Sage pill, which had fused with a large amount of life force, rapidly transformed and showed signs of evolving into a sage pill. Using his physical body to resist the pill lightning seeing, Yi Chunfeng used his physical body to resist the remaining power of the pill lightning without any damage. The spectators couldn't find any words to describe their feelings at this moment. It could be said that the strength and methods Yi Chunfeng displayed today were completely beyond their imagination. It made them feel like they were in a dream. It was unreal. Mobile reading site, book address. To facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1185. The power of this pill thunder was immense. Yi Chunfeng deduced the 3 Dao diagrams and used his body to resist the pill thunder for half an incense stick's worth of time. His injuries began to worsen as he was constantly struck by the pill thunder. Large amounts of blood flowed out from his torn body, dyeing him red. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement test, however. With the chaos divine wood guarding his body, the pill thunder only struck his skin and was unable to harm his core. More and more cracks appeared on his skin, but they did not affect Yi Chunfeng at all. It was as if he could not feel any pain as he continued to use his alchemy skills, using the pill thunder's remaining power to refine the Taishu Quasi-Sage pill. He stimulated the Taishu Quasi-Sage pill's greatest medicinal properties and allowed it to transform at the deepest level. At this time was running out and the atmosphere was becoming more and more tense. However, Yi Chunfeng did not panic at all. With the God-Eater brain's ingenious calculations, as long as nothing unexpected happened, he would be able to use the pill thunder's baptism to refine the Taishu Quasi-Sage pill to the level of Saint Pill. Boom, boom, boom. More and more pill thunder fell from the tribulation clouds, crazily destroying Yi Chunfeng's body. It drilled into the vermilion bird cauldron, attacking the Taishu Quasi-Sage pill that was constantly transforming. Seeing Yi Chunfeng being bombarded by the pill thunder without any damage to his body, the spectators were all numb. They felt that Yi Chunfeng was a monster that surpassed common sense. Just as the fiery sand was about to flow out, a large amount of silver lightning swept over, turning into a lightning vortex. It twisted the void and directly swallowed Yi Qianfeng. The three Dao diagrams were torn apart by the lightning vortex, their resistance greatly reduced. At the critical moment, the chaos divine would broke out of Yi Qianfeng's body and appeared above his head. Its lush canopy swayed as it swallowed an endless amount of chaotic energy, crazily devouring the power of the lightning vortex. At this time, Yi Qianfeng, who was covered in blood, guided the pill thunder that had been weakened by the chaos divine wood into the vermilion bird cauldron to speed up the transformation of the Taishu quasi-sage pill. The five-colored tree shadow. Feng Chun had a big secret on him. Although no one could see the full appearance of the chaos divine wood in the lightning vortex, they could feel the power of the pill lightning plummet. Everyone guessed that the chaos divine wood was no small matter. It was very likely that it was an extremely powerful sacred treasure. This also made everyone believe that Yi Qianfeng had an unimaginably powerful master. Otherwise, he would not have so many secrets on him. Finally, after fusing with a large amount of life force and being baptized by the pill thunder, the great void quasi-saint elixir transformed into a saint elixir. On the surface of the saint elixir, a half-meandering saint elixir mark appeared. If it wasn't for the lack of time, Yi Qianfeng would have had the chance to refine the Taishu quasi-holy Dan into a two-mark holy Dan. However, condensing the remaining half of the holy Dan would require at least half a day, causing Yi Qianfeng to have no choice but to give up. Pill formation. Yi Qianfeng spat out a mouthful of sky-burning initial sacred flame mixed with his blood essence. He infused it into the vermilion bird cauldron and refined the great void quasi-sacred pill, which had surpassed the limits of the Duhan continent and reached the level of a sacred pill. The pill lightning disappeared. He had really succeeded. Looking at the pill lightning and dark clouds in the sky that suddenly disappeared, looking at the great void quasi-sacred pill that shot out of the vermilion bird cauldron and released endless pill light, the flame spirit saint's last hope was shattered. He was like a deflated balloon sitting on the ground. His eyes were blank, and he was completely dumbfounded. Miracle! Feng Chun had created another miracle. Today's competition was destined to be recorded in the history books. Looking at the great void quasi-sacred pill floating above Yi Qianfeng's head with a half mark, Xian Hongzheng and the others showed a trace of excitement. At this moment, no one doubted Yi Qianfeng's alchemy skills anymore. They looked at him with reverence and passion in their eyes. Some people even spread the news immediately through their communication beads, causing a huge uproar in the outside world. Not long after Yi Qianfeng refined the great void quasi-sacred pill, the fiery sand in the funnel ran out. The finals, which had lasted for 10 days, had finally ended. 2 consecutive pill tribulations in the finals were extremely rare in the hundreds of thousands of years of history. In the long river of time, Yi Qianfeng was definitely the youngest alchemist to have attracted a pill tribulation. His performance was also the most shocking. In addition to his extraordinary alchemy skills, Yi Qianfeng had also just displayed a terrifying physical strength and comprehension of Tao intent. It was unimaginable that so many miracles would appear on one person. Sigh, we are really old. We can't even be compared to a junior. Looking at the great void quasi-sacred pill in Yi Qianfeng's hand that was emitting a strong medicinal fragrance and had a half mark, Master Dan Xian and Master Bai Luo looked at each other and saw the bitterness in each other's eyes. They were convinced by Yi Qianfeng's terrifying alchemy skills and were sincerely convinced of their loss. Master Nirvana, who was proud and arrogant and thought that the championship was already in his bag, also fell silent at this moment. Although the quality of the Great Void Quasi-Sage Elixir was not as good as the Huangji Quasi-Sage Elixir that Yi Qianfeng refined, the Great Void Quasi-Sage Elixir pattern that Yi Qianfeng refined was half a path higher than the Huangji Quasi-Sage Elixir pattern. What alchemy skills did Feng Chun have to be able to refine the Great Void Quasi-Sacred Pill to such a high quality? Although pill tribulations could increase the quality of pills, it could only increase the quality by 1 grade at most. The Great Void Quasi-Sacred Pill was not the highest grade of quasi-sacred pill, so even if it passed the pill tribulation, its quality would not surpass the Huangji quasi-sacred pill. However, not only did Yi Chunfeng refine the Great Void quasi-sacred pill to the sacred pill grade, but its quality also surpassed the Huangji quasi-sacred pill. In addition, Yi Chunfeng's method of increasing the quality of his pills in the semifinals made him very interested in the alchemy inheritance that Yi Chunfeng had. He wanted to obtain it. If he could grasp it, then he would definitely become the top alchemist of the Central World and be respected by millions. Place the pills you refine on the Lotus platforms and let us and the three lords evaluate them one by one. Vice Palace Lord Xin Qinya nodded at Yi Chunfeng, who had given him a great surprise. He took out 10 Lotus platforms and floated them in the air. Seeing Yi Chunfeng refine the Great Void quasi-sacred pill that had reached the sacred pill grade, the Fire Spirit Saint still felt like he was dreaming. His heart was filled with fear, and he did not dare to look at Yi Chunfeng. It could be said that Yi Chunfeng had become his nightmare, and he could not get rid of it. Feng Chun, if we have the chance, can we exchange alchemy skills? Great Master Jimia's turbid eyes shot out rays of light. He looked at the calm Yi Chunfeng and spoke with the tone of a superior. I'm sorry, Great Master Jimia. Without my master's permission, I cannot exchange alchemy skills with you. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and declined politely. Feng Chun, may I know who your master is? Great Master Jimia frowned slightly and asked unhappily. My master has ordered me not to mention his name. Yi Chunfeng said in a tone that was neither arrogant nor humble. Feng Chun, I is very interested in your alchemy skills and want to exchange with you. If you are willing, you can state any conditions. Seeing Yi Chunfeng pretending to be mysterious and constantly declining, Great Master Jimia was slightly annoyed. He no longer hid his true intentions and went straight to the point. I'm sorry, but this is related to my master's inheritance. I cannot give it to you. Yi Chunfeng continued to refuse. After that, Yi Chunfeng no longer paid attention to Great Master Jimia, whose face gradually turned dark and had evil intentions. He closed his eyes and waited for the final result. There's nothing I can't get when I want it. Great Master Jimia's eyes flashed with a cold light. He looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was resting with his eyes closed. He kept thinking about the plan to steal Yi Chunfeng's alchemy inheritance. Soon, after Xian Hongzheng and the others patiently appraised, the final result was out. Yi Chunfeng and Great Master Jimia had both refined a divine pill and were tied for first place. Great Master Bai Luo was third, Great Master Dan Xian was fourth, and Great Master Shui Yue was fifth. The pale-faced Fire Spirit Saint, who was unable to accept the truth, was 10th. He was at the bottom of the finals. Mobile reading site. Book address. In order to make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1186. Tied for first place? Palace Master Xian, isn't there a problem with this ranking? I's Huangji Quasi-Saint Pill is definitely better than his Taishu Quasi-Saint Pill. Isn't it too far-fetched to be tied for first place? Hearing the result, Great Master Nirvana showed a trace of displeasure and objected on the spot. The quality of the Huangji Quasi-Saint Pill is indeed better than the Taishu Quasi-Saint Pill, but your pill only has one pill pattern, while Feng Chen's Taishu Quasi-Saint Pill has 1.5 pill patterns. Among Saint Pills, this half-pill pattern has a huge difference in quality. Thus, our evaluation is that both of your Saint Pills are on par. Tying for first place is the best result. However, Great Master Nirvana, don't worry. The rewards won't be small. You and little friend Feng Chun can go to the treasure cliff and choose 3 treasures. Xian Hongzheng explained. Palace Master Xian, I want to ask you something. I hope you can answer truthfully. Does Feng Chun have any relationship with your heavenly hall? Are you biased towards him? Great Master Nirvana wasn't satisfied with Xian Hongzheng's explanation and asked with a cold expression. I do want little friend Feng Chun to have a relationship with my heavenly hall, but unfortunately, I've only just met him, and I'm not biased towards anyone. Qian Hongzheng calmly explained. Great Master Nirvana, as someone from the older generation, I feel that you should be more open-minded. Perhaps you feel that tying for first place with little friend Fengchun is a disgrace to your status. But perhaps in the future, you will feel that this is a great honor for you. In order to get closer to Yi Qinfeng, Great Master Nirvana revealed an unfathomable smile and slowly spoke. You, Great Master Nirvana, didn't expect Great Master Nirvana to stand up for Yi Qinfeng, and his expression became extremely gloomy. There is always someone better than you. There's no eternal first place in alchemy. Great Master Nirvana, we're all old. This world will belong to the younger generation sooner or later. Don't be too calculative. Master Dan Xin of Octave Divine Nation glanced at the gloomy Master Nirvana. Although he was squeezed out of the top 3 by Yi Qinfeng, he didn't hate Yi Qinfeng. Instead, he wanted to rope Yi Qinfeng into his Octahead Divine Country. If Yi Qinfeng was willing to come to his Octahead Divine Country, he believed that in the alchemy world, Octahead Divine Country would definitely be able to suppress Nine Heavens Divine Country. That's right, little friend Fengchun was able to refine a saint pill at such a young age. It's a miracle in and of itself. He deserves to be first place. Qian Sun King also supported Yi Qinfeng, causing Great Master Nirvana's face to turn ashen. Thank you for your affirmation. I'm still young, so there are many areas where I'm lacking. It's understandable that Master Nirvana feels that sharing first place with me is an insult to his status. Yi Qinfeng guessed that the Great Destruction Venerable targeted him because of his repeated rejections earlier. So he smiled faintly and said humbly, it's good that you know. Hearing Yi Qinfeng's intention to admit defeat, Great Master Nirvana's anger lessened a lot. He coldly snorted. Yi Qinfeng looked at the arrogant Master Nirvana and smiled. Master Nirvana, if you really don't want to share first place with me, that's fine too. Let's have another round. I'll refine the Huangji Quasi-Sage Pill, and Senior will refine the Taishu Quasi-Sage Pill. As long as Senior's Taishu Quasi-Sage Pill can reach my level, I'll automatically give up first place. You, Great Master Nirvana, didn't think that Yi Qinfeng's words were a trap. First, he wanted to make him happy, then he stabbed him. He was so angry that his face turned green. That's fine too. If Master Nirvana feels that this ranking is unreasonable, then we'll have another round. I believe no one has any objections. Qian Hongzheng glanced at Yi Qinfeng and smiled. If you want to compete, I can compete with you in refining. Great Master Nirvana had never suffered such humiliation before. He was slapped in the face by a junior in front of everyone. However, he didn't have the ability to refine the Taishu Quasi-Sage Pill to the Sacred Pill level. He didn't dare to accept the challenge. He gritted his teeth and glared at Yi Qinfeng. Sure, this junior is also preparing to participate in the next refining competition. If Senior wants to bet, this junior will accompany you. However, wouldn't a simple bet be too boring? Why don't we add some stakes? Yi Qinfeng agreed very straightforwardly. What do you want to bet? Seeing the calm Yi Qinfeng, Great Master Nirvana frowned and asked in a low voice. Let's bet on the rewards of our alchemy competition. If this junior is lucky enough to win, the rewards of Senior's alchemy competition will belong to this junior. If this junior loses, then this junior's rewards will belong to Senior. Yi Qinfeng suggested. Hearing that Yi Qinfeng actually had the guts to bet on the rewards of the alchemy competition's first place, everyone present sucked in a breath of cold air and revealed a surprised expression. Yi Qinfeng dared to make such a big bet, which proved that he was full of confidence in the refining competition. It also showed Qian Hongzheng and the others how terrifying he was. Unparalleled alchemy skills, terrifying physical body, and profound Tao intent. If he also grasped the terrifying refining skills, then such an all-round Yi Qinfeng was worthy of the Divine Nation's Divine Emperor to come out and rope him in. His future achievements were even more immeasurable. What's wrong, Senior? You are highly respected, and your refining skills are unparalleled. You can't be afraid of this junior, right? Yi Qinfeng looked at Great Master Nirvana, whose face was gloomy like water and was trying hard to suppress the anger in his heart. He smiled and said, "Forget it. This junior is also a person who is easy to talk to. If senior is afraid of losing to this junior and losing face, then let's not bet." A sense of humiliation and anger that he had never experienced before filled Great Master Nirvana's heart, giving him the urge to strangle Yi Chunfeng to death. Other than anger, Great Master Nirvana also had a trace of regret in his heart. He regretted that he shouldn't have provoked Yi Chunfeng, who was full of thorns, and pushed himself to the edge of the waves. "All right, I agree to bet on the rewards of the alchemy competition's first place." In front of so many old rivals, Great Master Nirvana knew that he couldn't back down. If he backed down, the people of the Octave Divine Nation and the Kirin Kingdom would definitely make a big fuss about this matter. At that time, he would definitely lose all face and become a laughingstock. "Seniors, please be a witness for me and Great Master Nirvana." Seeing that Great Master Nirvana agreed, Yi Chunfeng's smile became even more brilliant as he spoke softly. "Don't worry, Great Master Nirvana is highly respected and won't go back on his word." Great Elder Xian Zhongting, who favored Yi Chunfeng a lot, said with a smile. Great Master Nirvana didn't think that things would develop to this point. He angrily glared at Xian Hongzheng and the others, who were completely leaning towards Yi Chunfeng, and angrily left. "Fire Spirit, where are you going?" Just as the Fire Spirit Saint Child was about to leave with the people of the Nine Heavens Divine Nation, Yi Chunfeng suddenly stopped him and said, "Isn't it time to settle the bet between us?" The Fire Spirit Saint Child braced himself and said, "The Heavenly Fire Triple-Layered Transformations Cultivation chant is not on me. That's not urgent." Yi Chunfeng smiled and said, "I want you to kneel down and kowtow to me to apologize." The Fire Spirit Saint Child's face turned red as he tightly clenched his fists and angrily glared at Yi Chunfeng. "Feng Chun, do you really want to fight to the death with my sacred Fire Valley?" Yi Chunfeng ignored the Fire Spirit Saint Child's threat and slowly said, "Okay, no more nonsense. Don't tell me you want to go back on your words. If you agree to a bet, you have to accept your loss. Fire Spirit, stop being so wishy-washy and quickly kneel down and kowtow." A trace of coldness appeared in the Flood Demon King's eyes as he ordered without any room for resistance. Feeling everyone's gazes, the Fire Spirit Saint Child knew that he had no choice. He clenched his teeth and stubbornly kneeled on the ground in humiliation and kowtowed 3 times to Yi Chunfeng. "That's more like it. Let's go. Take me to your father and get the Heavenly Fire Triple-Layered Transformation. Our grudge ends here. However, if you're not convinced and want to take revenge, I welcome you at any time." Yi Chunfeng said with a smile as he looked at the Flame Spirit Saint's son, who was kneeling on the ground like a dog. Yi Chunfeng completely won the bet with the Fire Spirit Saint Child. His next target, Yi Chunfeng set his sights on the arrogant and evil Great Master Nirvana. Mobile reading website, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click Save at the bottom to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1187. This is the cultivation formula of the Heavenly Fire Triple-Layer Change. Watching Yi Chunfeng win first place in the alchemy competition through the light wall, Fire Sky Halberd could not calm down for a long time. He did not expect that the Holy Son of Fire Spirit would provoke a monster that the sacred Fire Valley could not afford to provoke. When Yi Chunfeng found him, he could only obediently give the cultivation formula of the Heavenly Fire Triple-Layer Change, the #1 divine sense of the sacred Fire Valley, to Yi Chunfeng. "I hope you learn from your mistakes and don't provoke me again. Otherwise, I will destroy your inheritance." Watching Fire Sky Halberd and his son leave in embarrassment, Yi Chunfeng narrowed his eyes and murmured in his heart, "Fengchen, where did you come from? How can you be so powerful that you can even refine a divine elixir?" The Tao addict and the others gathered around and looked at him as if he was a monster, as if they wanted to see through him. This junior only managed to refine the sage-grade medicinal pill after performing excessively and adding a bit of luck. Yi Chen-feng said modestly as he looked at the shocked faces around him. Don't be modest. You won first place in the highest-level alchemy competition in the Central World, not just by luck. The Tao addict said with a smile. In the future, when the four of us ask you to refine elixirs, you can't refuse or blackmail us. Otherwise, I will ask my disciple to settle accounts with you. Yi Chen-feng glanced at Jiao Yuyan, who was blushing and looking radiant, and promised softly, "Rest assured, seniors. If you need it, I will refine elixirs for you for free." Haha, I was waiting for you to say that. The Tao addict laughed and said with satisfaction. As for the Absolute Sword Trio, they all smiled. The way they looked at Yi Chen-feng had changed. Although their realms had reached the limit of the Central World, if they had the support of a powerful divine elixir, their strength could still improve a lot, and their lifespan could also increase. Therefore, Yi Chen-feng, who had the strength to refine a divine elixir, was extremely important to them. Let's go, seniors. Let's go back. I want to cultivate for a few days and prepare for the alchemy competition in 3 days. Yi Chen-feng said softly. What? You still want to participate in the artifact refining competition? The Tao addict and the others widened their eyes in astonishment and asked in astonishment. They were unable to imagine that at Yi Chen-feng's age, not only was his strength formidable, his Tao insights profound, and his refinement technique unparalleled, he even grasped formidable equipment refinement techniques. Even if he was cultivating in his mother's womb, it was impossible for him to be so abnormal. Yes, I also made a bet with Master Nirvana on the final result of our weapon refining competition. The prize is the reward of our alchemy competition. Yi Chen-feng nodded and said, What? Hearing Yi Chen-feng's understatement, the Tao addict and others were all dumbfounded and petrified on the spot. This, Feng-chun, are you sure you can defeat Nirvana? Not only is his attainment in alchemy unparalleled, but his craftsmanship is even more frightening. In the entire Central World, the number of people who can defeat him in craftsmanship can be counted on one hand. The Tao addict gasped. I don't have absolute confidence in defeating him. If he wants to defeat me in refining weapons, it won't be that easy. Yi Chen-feng's calm voice revealed incomparable confidence. Monster, this kid is a monster. The Tao addict and the others looked at each other, and the same thought emerged in their minds. After returning to the Tao addict's ancient courtyard, Yi Chen-feng rejected the proposal to celebrate. He returned to his room and set up a soundproof restriction. After a simple rest, he took out a large amount of refining materials from the Chinkun world. As he refined weapons, he tried to merge the purple beginning sacred thunder and the sky-burning sacred fire into the equipment refining embryo. Before coming to the Fire God City, Yi Chen-feng was already able to seal the purple beginning sacred thunder and the sky-burning sacred fire into the equipment refining embryo, and the success rate was more than 90%. However, if he wanted to defeat Master Nirvana, a one-time attack was probably not enough. Yi Chen-feng was prepared to try to seal the 2 sacred objects 2 or even 3 times. Although his idea was quite bold and difficult, it was feasible after the evolution of the Chaos Divine Wood. According to his idea, Yi Chen-feng used the power of the Chaos Divine Wood to do experiments again and again. He forcefully sealed the first sacred fire and the first sacred thunder into the equipment refining embryo twice. However, during the experiment, Yi Chen-feng still encountered a lot of trouble. After repeated experiments and failures, his confidence was greatly damaged. What exactly went wrong? Yi Chen-feng realized that the first seal would succeed, but the second seal would always lose control of the initial sacred fire and initial sacred thunder, tearing apart the seal and exploding the refining embryo. This made him ponder over the problem continuously. Could it be that the power contained in the first sacred fire and the first sacred thunder is too strong, and the low-grade Tao artifact I refined is not strong enough to seal the first sacred fire and the first sacred thunder twice, which led to the failure in the end? After thinking for a while, Yi Chen-feng thought of where the problem might be. However, 3 days was too short, and the time needed to refine a high-grade Dao artifact was very long, so he had no time to confirm his guess. Just when Yi Qinfeng was in distress, there was a knock on the door, and Zhao Yuyin's gentle voice sounded outside the room. "Feng Chun, Palace Master Xian is here and wants to see you." Palace Master Xian. Hearing Zhao Yuyin's voice, Yi Qinfeng immediately stopped the experiment, opened the door, and followed her to the main hall, where he saw Xian Hongzheng, who was chatting with the Dao addict and others. "Feng Chun, I didn't disturb your cultivation, did I?" Seeing the golden couple Yi Qinfeng and Zhao Yuyin appear in the main hall, Xian Hongzheng put down the teacup in his hand, showed a faint smile, and asked softly. "No." Yi Qinfeng shook his head and said, "Palace Master Xian, I wonder why you came to see me so late at night." "Qinfeng, can we talk in private?" Xian Hongzheng asked. "Of course," Yi Qinfeng said very straightforwardly. "If you don't mind, Palace Master Xian can come to my room." "Feng Chun, I came to see you today because I have a very important matter to ask for your help." After arriving at Yi Qinfeng's room, Xian Hongzheng said directly, "Palace Master Xian, please speak." Yi Qinfeng personally poured a cup of fragrant tea for Xian Hongzheng and said, "I want to ask you to help us refine a pill after the competition." Xian Hongzheng took a sip of tea and said, "Palace Master Xian, what grade of pill are you going to refine?" Yi Qinfeng slightly raised his eyebrows and asked in surprise. Heavenly Palace represented the highest level of refining in the central world, and it was also the holy land in the hearts of alchemists and refiners. A pill that even they were not confident in refining was extraordinary. 10 pattern low-grade saint pill, Xian Hongzheng said. 10 pattern. Yi Qinfeng sucked in a breath of cold air. 1 pattern low-grade saint pill had already exceeded the limit of the Duhan continent, and if a 10 pattern low-grade saint pill was refined in the Duhan continent, it would definitely be punished by the heavens. I know this request is a little difficult, but the 10 pattern low-grade saint pill that we are refining is extremely important to my heavenly palace. Xian Hongzheng said, "Palace Master Xian, there are so many saint masters in the central world. Why did you come to me?" Yi Qinfeng did not immediately agree and asked softly, "Whether it is Master Nirvana, Master Dan Exine, or Master Bai Luo, they all have the blood of foreign races flowing in their bodies. You are the same as us, with the blood of the human race flowing in your body. In addition, you have displayed superior refining skills today, so we feel that you are a good candidate and trustworthy. However, you don't need to feel too burdened. Regardless of success or failure, we will still be grateful to you and offer you a generous gift." Xian Hongzheng explained. "All right, I am willing to help." After knowing that Heavenly Palace was the inheritance of the human race, Yi Qinfeng did not think too much and agreed. "Thank you. Feng Chen, I don't know what you want, but as long as my Heavenly Palace can take it out, we will definitely give it to you," Xian Hongzheng said with a trace of gratitude. "Then I will not stand on ceremony." Yi Qinfeng thought for a moment and said, "I want 3 high-grade Dao artifact embryos, 3 supreme-grade Earth artifact embryos, 1 quasi-sacred artifact embryo, the Royal Saint Pill refined by Master Nirvana, and 81 supreme-grade Dao swords. All right, tomorrow morning, I will order someone to send these items to you." Although the items that Yi Qinfeng wanted were priceless, and even the Saint Lands could not take them out, Xian Hongzheng still agreed happily. "By the way, Feng Chun, due to your outstanding performance in the weapon refining competition, you do not need to participate in the preliminary and semifinals. You can directly participate in the finals." Before leaving, Xian Hongzheng gave Yi Qinfeng a heaven token. With this heaven token, Yi Qinfeng could directly participate in the finals. "Thank you, Palace Master Xian." Yi Qinfeng was overjoyed. What he lacked now was time. With this heaven token, he could have more than 10 days to do experiments. "All right, Feng Chun, have a good rest. I am leaving." After saying that, Yi Qinfeng respectfully sent him off. Xian Hongzheng left the ancient courtyard and returned to Heavenly Palace. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. The next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1188. Early in the morning, a ray of light pierced through the mist and shone on Fire God City, awakening this ancient city with a long history. Early in the morning, Skyhall's experts brought Yi Chunfeng's Dao Tool embryos, Royal Holy Pill, and 81 top-grade Dao swords. The reason why Yi Chunfeng wanted the Royal Holy Pill was because he wanted to use this top-grade body-tempering Saint Pill to cultivate the third stage of the 9 transformations, the astral body. Yi Chunfeng wanted the 81 top-grade Dao swords to form the Cosmos Sword Array. With his current soul realm, he could control the 81 swords to attack at the same time. And when he upgraded the 81 swords to top-grade Dao swords, it greatly increased the power of the Cosmos Sword Array. The strongest attack definitely surpassed a low-grade Saint artifact, becoming one of Yi Chunfeng's greatest trump cards. After getting what he needed, Yi Chunfeng immediately went into seclusion. He took out the top-grade Dao Tool embryo and threw it into the vermilion bird cauldron. As he burned and refined it, he borrowed the power of the Chaos Divine wood to seal the purple beginning's sacred lightning and sky-burning sacred flame into the Dao Tool embryo. Just as Yi Chunfeng was hiding in his room and experimenting, the entire Central World was in an uproar because of Yi Chunfeng's stunning performance in the alchemy competition. His name resounded throughout the Central World. Octahead Divine Nation's mansion in Fire God City. Han Yin, what's your relationship with Feng Chun? Monarch, who was wearing a black robe and exuding a faint demonic aura, called Shui Han Yin to his room and asked in a low voice, Uncle Wang wants me to rope Feng Chun into my Octahead Divine Nations camp. Shui Han Yin, who was wearing a long black silk dress that vividly accentuated her impressive figure, exuded an enchanting charm from head to toe. She lightly played with a strand of long hair that hung before her chest as she spoke softly. That's right. This Feng Chun is the most terrifying young man I've ever seen. More importantly, his alchemy skills are unparalleled. He's an endless treasure trove. If we can recruit him, he'll definitely strengthen our kingdom. He'll be one of the pillars of our kingdom in the future. Monstrous Monarch nodded. Uncle Wang, I think there are many people who have the same thoughts as you, Shui Han Yin said in a flat voice, making it impossible for others to guess her true thoughts. Yes, as soon as the results were announced, Feng Chun immediately became the most popular person in the world. Even the 9 Heavens Divine Kingdom and the Kirin Kingdom are thinking of ways to win him over. Mo Tao King nodded and said, Han Yin, are you willing to help? Help? Using a honey trap? The corners of Shui Han Yin's mouth curled up slightly, revealing a thought-provoking smile as she said with neither joy nor sorrow. Han Yin, I know your standards are high, but this Feng Chun is a good match for you in terms of both appearance and talent. You should consider it carefully. If you miss out on him, you will most likely be betrothed to the Thousand Tribulation sex, Li Tian-yi, Demon Wave King advised. Li Tian-yi, that guy's a bit annoying. Shui Han Yin's eyes flashed with a sharp light. All right, since Uncle Wang said so, I'll give it a try. However, there are many beauties around that Feng Chun. You have to find a way to create an opportunity for me. Don't worry, the Heavenly Temple will hold a grand banquet after the competition. At that time, I'll create an opportunity for you too. Demon Wave King was overjoyed after seeing Shui Han Yin agree. Yi Chunfeng, how do you think I should entice you to leave with me? Shui Han Yin revealed a charming smile. Her beautiful demeanor made Monarch Mo Liu Wang's heart tremble. Demon Wave King racked his brains to win over Yi Chunfeng. The 9 Heavens Divine Kingdom, the Kirin Kingdom, and even the reclusive Vast Heaven Palace were all doing their best to win over Yi Chunfeng. Among them, the Kirin Kingdom even came to visit, but the Dao addict used the reason of Yi Chunfeng's seclusion to drive them away. Very quickly, 3 days passed, and the armament refining competition began. At this time, Yi Chunfeng was hiding in his room, constantly experimenting. Finally, after repeated efforts, he added 2 layers of seals to the Supreme Grade Dao tool, sealing the Purple Beginning's lightning and the Sky Scorch flame twice. My earlier guess was right. The Purple Beginnings Lightning and the Sky Scorch Flame are too powerful. Ordinary Tao tools can't withstand their power, so they burst. After successfully sealing the 2 layers of Purple Beginnings Holy Lightning and Sky Burning Holy Flame in the embryo of the Supreme Grade Tao artifact, Yi Chenfeng heaved a sigh of relief and revealed a faint smile. I wonder if a quasi-sage tool can withstand the power of 3 layers of Purple Beginnings Lightning and the Sky Scorch Flame. If he wanted to defeat Great Master Nirvana in the blacksmith competition, Yi Chenfeng knew that an ancient Tao weapon would not be enough. He had to refine a quasi-sacred weapon to have a chance. If he could add 3 layers of seals to the quasi-sage tool, his chances of victory would be even greater. I hope I can succeed. Yi Chenfeng rested for a while and threw the quasi-sage tool embryo into the vermilion bird cauldron. After 3 days of experimentation, he successfully used the power of the Chaos Divine Wood to add 3 layers of seals to the quasi-sage tool embryo. Purple Beginnings Lightning, Sky Scorch Flame, fuse. With a thought, Yi Chenfeng forcibly fused the 2 sacred spirits into the 3 layers of seals. Although there was still a slight deviation during the fusion, it almost led to failure. However, the transformed Chaos Divine Wood was extremely heaven-defying. Under its effect, Yi Chenfeng finally succeeded in fusing the 2 sacred spirits into the 3 layers of seals. The successful sealing of 3 layers meant that after the quasi-sage tool was refined, it could use the power of the Sky Scorch Flame and Sky Scorch Lightning 3 times in a row. In a fierce battle, these 3 sacred spirits' attacks were enough to turn the tide. I wonder how many days are left until the final round of the refining competition. After the successful experiment, Yi Chenfeng was in a good mood. He stretched his body and soaked in the bathtub for a while to relieve his tiredness. He summoned the 9-flood dragon diagram and began to study the Saint Tool runes in the diagram, making the final preparations for the refining competition. After another 3 days, Zhao Yuyan's gentle voice sounded from outside the room. Feng Chun, the Sky Hall's messenger wants me to inform you that tomorrow is the refining competition. He wants you to prepare well and participate on time. It's finally time for the finals. Yi Chenfeng opened his tightly closed eyes and woke up from his meditation. His eyes that were as deep as the ocean were filled with anticipation. Feng Chun, do you want me to help you recover your soul energy tonight? Zhao Yuyan, who was wearing a white floral dress, was as beautiful as a fairy. There was a faint blush on her delicate face as she looked at Yi Chenfeng with a gentle gaze. She was like a little demoness who was tempting him to commit a crime. Okay. Yi Chenfeng's heart skipped a beat as he looked at the beautiful Zhao Yuyan, who had an otherworldly temperament and did not lose her charm. He held her soft and smooth hand and sat on the large, soft bed. Then, he unreservedly let his soul merge with hers, becoming inseparable. In this intoxicating and ethereal state, he started to cultivate the immortal soul art. Very quickly, the night passed. After a wonderful night of cultivation, Yi Chenfeng's soul energy had reached its peak state. Under the care of Zhao Yuyan, he changed into a new set of clothes and left the ancient courtyard in high spirits. He went to the fire god shrine. The final round of the refining competition had begun. Book Group 836225554. Welcome everyone to join. Mobile reading site. Book address. In order to make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support.